Welcome to the show, fellas. Let me turn this off here. Goodbye, music. Welcome to Gavin Games. Appreciate you being here. It is, what is today? I don't fucking know. It's June 24th, Monday. Summer started over the weekend. I hope you're enjoying your summer. It's nice to see everybody. This is Gavin Games. I'm a little depressed right now, truth be told. My sister writes to me. I'm not going to get into too many details. Well, there's no details to get into, but I just got to tell you the story because it's kind of weighing on me a little bit. And that's what we do. Anyway, my sister writes me, and it's also hot. That's true, Brett Moore. And she says, my brother-in-law, her husband's sister, which is no blood. I don't know. Just my brother-in-law's sister was getting into the bathtub today. She slipped, she fell, hit her head, and died. I mean, that's pretty much what happened. And I hadn't talked to her in years, but it really kind of affected me, not just because I'm sad for her kids and I'm sad for, my brother-in-law and sister and all that shit, but I think because, she was such a good memory, she's older than I was. She's 62. She's about 9 years older than I was, but she hung out with me and my dad and my brother and my cousins. We did stuff, and she was always very sweet and fun and a real good spirit. And I remember I hate when people, I'm going to date myself. Yeah, I'm 53. Go suck your own dick. I'm 53. I like being 53, but when I was a kid, the second concert I ever saw was Kenny Rogers, and she was insistent. I remember this. She was insistent on getting me and my brother down to the front of the stage to meet Kenny Rogers. Now, we couldn't meet him, but she fucking like a fucking tank. I mean, she was built like a little leaf. No way she was a tank, but she barreled us up to the front of the goddamn stage and everything. She was great. And like I said, I hadn't talked to her in a while. My heart goes out to her kids and her close family, but yeah, man. I mean, it's just, here's what I think it is. I think it's one of those things that when she's 62, she slipped getting into a goddamn bathtub. If you ever watch that great series on HBO, 6 Feet Under, it opens. I mean, sometimes it's very, this guy has cancer. This lady has a heart attack, things are coming. But this was a woman who was very healthy. She'd sprained her ankle. That was pretty much it. And she was going to take a bath. And that's it. Boom, lights out. Isn't that something? We are living in a fucking Miyazaki game, fellas. I talk about difficulty. You goddamn right. Thank you for the nice, you know, sorry for your losses and all that. I appreciate that. It's honestly, I'm just, it's, you know, it's one of those things. There's that song when I was, certainly one when I was a teenager, when I was probably in my 20s, that Baz Luhrmann, the director, put out about graduation. And that line has always stuck with me. He says, you know, the biggest things, the biggest shocks in your life are not things you'll prepare for. There are things that'll hit you kind of blind on a Tuesday afternoon and you're not even thinking about it. And that's what this was, is, you know. But I am glad you're here, and I am ready to give you a good show and talk to you guys. If you're on the YouTube, the link comments at the top up there. You can call in anytime. I can't guarantee when I'll put you on, but I'll probably put you on. No guarantees, but most likely will. And then we're going to be talking about Elden Ring difficulty today. I know we've gone round and round on the whole, it can't be easier. It's not that. Miyazaki said something, and I did a test over the weekend, and I want to show you guys the results of that test. It's all very much related. We'll talk about Dr.Disrespect. We'll get to some game news. At the end of the show, we are going to be playing my newly designed video game. It's not actually a video game. Well, I guess it is because it's on your TV screen. Come on now. It is called, not that. It is called Escape the Grift Monster. I forgot to put the word monster in there. And again, you know, Grums, ha ha ha. I mean, I don't have any beef with the guy. I think he is a grifter. I think he's also contributed a lot to the video game industry. He was perfectly nice and had a lot of interesting things to say when I interviewed him for this show. I'd love to have him come back on. But that said, though, I think he's grifting hard. And so if you want to win a $25 PlayStation Network gift card, anybody in the chat is able to play. And whoever gets to Taylor Swift and her hot air balloon over there to escape the grift monster will get the $25 PlayStation Network gift card. So this will be a little bit later. I also want to let you know that today Last Stand Media announced the Sacred Symbols versus Duke, defining Duke in San Diego, which means I will be there. That's coming up start of September. So hopefully I'll see some of you beautiful people there. I had a couple of interesting conversations last night on our Discord about acquiring something that Colin and I are very interested in taking into our bodices. I know she died today, but the comedy just can't contain it. I'm not going to say what it is, but you guys know. Anyway, and we're talking about, or I'm talking about streaming our responses to said thing coming into our bodices. So I'll get you all that information, but I appreciate the folks on Discord steering me into the direction of where these things can be acquired. So that is going to be happening on September 6th. The tickets are on sale, I think, Wednesday if you are a Patreon member for Last Stand Media. And once those have sold for a certain amount of time, they're going to open it up to everybody else. So hopefully I'll see some of you nice, delightful humans there. Also, don't forget, Gavin Games and I Love the Weird has a Patreon, David Jaffe Games. You can subscribe here on YouTube, and you can get all the membership benefits that come with that. If you're really into the podcast version of this show, of which we do a lot of those, most of these shows go right to podcast. There's also bonus podcast for members only. Those are easier to access over on the Patreon as a member, just because YouTube is backwards fucking crazy when it comes to letting people listen to their podcast on YouTube. It's a long story. It doesn't matter. The point is, consider a membership. If you like the show today, consider a like, a subscription, or just, you know, don't send me a fucking picture of anything. Maybe your mother, if she's beautiful. That would be great. I want to let you know what I'm playing. I did not play. I didn't play Erd Tree. I'm still playing Elden Ring, and we'll get to the difficulty in a minute, and I'll talk to you about it more then. It's too much. I can't handle it as is. And now when I hear people who love Elden Ring like I do saying it's just too fucking hard, I give up. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for some patches to come down the road. But I did play a shit ton of Echo Generation Midnight Edition. This is the game. It's already been out. It was on Game Pass for a while. The team's actually already put out their second game. But this is kind of a remaster. They've added fast travel. They've made the graphics better. I just got to tell you something. I love this fucking game. Now, if you strip out the Stranger Things, growing up in the 80s, suburbia nostalgia porn, as a standalone game, it is well made, but it's basically a game like Costume Quest. It's an RPG. I wouldn't say it's a light RPG, but it's got little mini games for a bunch of the moves. There's a lot of, if you want this, you give me this, I'll give you that. It is not like the guys who, work at Baldur's Gate 3 are going to be running for the hills and worrying about their jobs. But if you like the vibe that you see here, the look of it, the sound is great. Just the story, the narrative, it really is absolutely excellent. Yeah, it's about 8 hours long. It's not that hard. At least this game's not. I'm talking about Eltree. So if you're interested, I just can't say enough great things about it, and I would absolutely go for the new edition, because it does. At least I'm playing it on my PC, and I'm playing it locally because it's not on GeForce, and it looks beautiful, and it's absolutely excellent stuff. So I recommend. This is called Echo Generation Midnight Edition. It's also on the Switch, this particular version. Okay, let me go to the chat, see what you guys are talking about, and then after that, I want to get some news of the day. And then we will roll into our very first story, which is going to be all about. We're going to talk about Disrespect a bit. We're going to talk. Well, no, we'll actually do. We'll do the From Software story first, because I do want to show you guys some stuff. But let me see if you guys something you want to say first. Jaffe Rich from Review Tech USA is back. What do you mean he's back? I mean, I've been seeing him tweet, and we talked about him the other day. Somebody says to me, "Hey man, what's going on with Review Tech USA guy?" And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I see him all the time, on Twitter, but I didn't realize that he had stopped streaming, but I'm glad he's doing well. He's always been a nice guy to me. Jaffe, what's your thought on the Superman suit? I like it a lot. I've been a little disappointed that here, let me bring it up. You haven't seen it. Superman suit. Not a lot of people, but I have seen a number of complaints online where people do not like it. And, that's the internet for you. Go fuck yourself. But what I will say about it is what has me excited about it is that it feels very comic booky. It feels very much like if you ever watch the CW shows, and those were not brilliantly written TV shows, but they clearly had great love for the source material. They had comic accurate costumes. And that's what I think we're seeing here. And I love that. And again, people are like, it looks all stupid. It's like, yeah, because it's not lit. It's not, I'm not saying it's going to be moody like a Christopher Nolan movie, but even though I do love these bright colors, just like I like them on Wolverine and Deadpool, I love the yellow suit on Wolverine. It's, this is a behind the scenes shot. You're not supposed to be visually judging this anymore than you're supposed to be judging Insomniac leaks visually right now, because it's not ready. But if you want, I saw this the other day. Check this out. This was Batman, Keaton, Joker. It was like press photos or something, and they were this stuff. If you've ever seen these guys look so terrible because it's not lit. There's no good camera angle for it. This was just stuff like, hey, Nestle Candy Crunch is doing a Batman deal. Okay, let's make sure we have some really high-res images that these are the things that go on the products and things like that. That's what a lot of this stuff is, right? And so it's not lit or anything other than it's just very flat so that they can then take it into Photoshop or whatever they use at the time, and they can manipulate it for the product they're selling. But these guys right here, they look like the dudes that are standing out in front of Hollywood Boulevard in the Man's Chinese Theater. Even though it's a fucking Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton, two of the best actors, in the history of Hollywood, it looks stupid as shit. And very few people you will find to criticize the Tim Burton 1989 Batman motion picture show. So no to your hating on the Superman costume. But I think it looks great. And the one I really liked, and I don't know, I'm sure it'll come up real quick. I'll just find it real fast. There was a shot of him looking away from the camera. And that cape, I think the cape looks fucking beautiful. He almost kind of reminds me of one of those characters in Warhammer, like one of those sort of old Roman Legion dudes. Where's that cape? I'll just type in cape. I'm sure you've seen it. Maybe you have. Maybe you haven't. I can't find it, but it's really nice looking. Him and what's this guy's Mr. Terrific are looking up, and you can just see it from the back. It's great. So there's your answer. I really liked it. I thought it was good. Thought it was a really, really good design. To be fair, I don't know what people want. I mean, it's Superman. What do you need? What do you expect him to look like? He's fucking Superman. You want him, I assume, to be a beacon of hope and brightness and vivid colors. I'm not looking for Superman to be all mopey and shit. It's Superman, man. So no, I'm in. I'm totally fucking in. Okay. Lois looks stunning. I haven't seen her as Lois. I watched her in the show she was on. What's that thing called? The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And she was fucking beautiful. But no, I haven't seen her in the movie. Tim Duncan says this movie will be a flop. I don't care. The fuck do I care? Are you invested in the movie, Tim Duncan? I know a guy, speaking of Superman and investing, when I was about, I don't know how old I was, probably 12, my brother was really good friends with this guy named, I'll just say his fucking name, I don't care, Stephen Marks. And they were really, really wealthy dudes, family. And they told me one day that the dad got an opportunity to invest in Superman 3. And I was just like, what you can invest like privately in movies and shit? And so in that, he got the script and he told us the whole script. Superman 3 was one with Richard Pryor, and it was like he was a banker who was stealing money by taking half pennies or some such shit. I don't remember it very well. I don't remember liking it. But the point being is that unless Tim Duncan, you're like Stephen Marks' dad, what do you care if it's going to flop? I don't care if it's flops or not. I care if it's good. And James Gunn really has James Gunn ever made a bad movie? I don't think he's, made every movie he makes is excellent, but I don't think he ever doesn't. I don't think he's ever made something that just doesn't just genuinely entertain. But to be fair, neither did James Mangold before the goddamn Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which was a piece of shit. So, what are you going to do with yourself? Okay. Who's talking to me over there? Okay. Blackjack says, I am done with comic book characters. I just can't fake the interest anymore. Why were you faking it to begin with? I have loved comic book characters since I was a kid. And I still love them. I'm a big fucking fan. So do with it what you will. Okay, well, let's go to some news. Let's go to some video game news, because that's why you're here. That and from a pretty face. By the way, if you love the pretty face with the pretty beard, say goodbye. The beard's going away. The next time you see me, it won't be there. Why, you may ask? Because it gets in the way of my sleep apnea mask. And while the Ozempic's working great, it isn't working so great that I've lost enough weight to sort of cure my apnea, and thus I'm not getting good sleep anymore because the beard's too goddamn bushy. So that's what's going to be happening. Okay. You ever go to Glassdoor just to look at some of these companies, these video game companies? I do. I find it interesting. I'm looking at the PlayStation Glassdoor thing, and this one guy, I mean, most of the PlayStation stuff's pretty good. So don't get all pissy with me about you're picking on PlayStation. No, I read the stuff that's more interesting. I can read you a bunch of the ones that say this is a great place to work. But this one was kind of disturbing. This was a guy who interviewed for a tech artist. Is this the one? No, this is the one. Tech artist. He applied for San Diego. They said the budget, the salary was here. I'll put it up on the screen so we can all look at this together. The budget's $150K, $100K to $150K in San Diego. And apparently he made it through like 4 or 5 big, tough interviews. And then he gets to the end of it and they called and offered him a job and everything sounds great. And then he says, they offered him a contract, not a full-time position, which is what this was advertised as, with much lower pay than the listed salary. At At no point in the hours of interviews was I told this was an option. Now, this, again, is not a knock against working at Sony. It's more of a knock against HR or the people they hire to contract folks. The HR rep kept trying to sell me on PlayStation and the San Diego lifestyle, but I couldn't realistically accept a non-salaried, no benefits contract role in such an expensive area of the country. I mean, more importantly, why would you work at a place that lied to you flat out? Unless this guy's got rocks in his head, but you don't make it through all these very smart people interviewing you if you're a moron. I'm sure he read the fine print, and this was a salaried position. And then it looks like, if you can believe this, they pulled a bait and switch. And it's like, okay, yeah, San Diego is pretty nice for a lot of people. I like LA more, but I'm an outlier. But people tend to love San Diego, and it's very expensive. But sell you on PlayStation, that's the lamest fucking, I hate when recruiters or interviewers do that. Don't sell me. Don't tell me to take less money and no benefits for me and my family because I get the honor of working with PlayStation. This is what you need to do. Go suck my dick, you motherfucker. That's what I would say. Listen, again, and this is not a knock. This is me saying, hey, most of these reviews are pretty fucking good. But some of them, let's see the overview. If you go to PlayStation, you're thinking about a job, regardless of the category, it's 4.1 out of 5. Hard to complain. Complain. Jim Ryan's not there anymore, but 81% approval. Promotes within, great benefits, 5 stars. The cons are a crunch, hard work to life balance. But they have great people making games with passion. Look at this. This guy didn't like it, though. 2.8 out of 5. It's like, fuck you, PlayStation. This was in London. Let's go to Xbox, though. Let's be fair. Let's see what you know what I did, by the way? I needed to sign up for this because I wanted, there was something I wanted, or maybe I wanted to have access to this for the show. And it's like, okay, well, where have you worked? And I just lied because I don't want to tell them the truth. I work at Bank of America. And they're like, what was your experience at Bank of America like? And I'm just like, oh, it was fun, and the boss was funny, and he showed me the ways of love. I just, did all kinds of crazy shit. And they just, okay, you're in. And I'm getting emails now from Bank of America. I should have known better. Xbox, let's see, not Xbox, PlayStation, you little so-and-so. Let's go to Xbox. I guess it would be Microsoft, but let's do Xbox. It's probably let's see. No, it's probably going to be Microsoft, I guess. So that's going to be too hard because it's a huge fucking thing. I remember the Telltale Games Glassdoor was bad. Oh, I'm sure. And I always like to look. I never had any. Like when we had Bartlett Jones, I don't believe Bartlett Jones, my last company, ever had any. Let's see. They might have had one. Bartlett Jones Super. There's one. Okay, let's see what comes up. This was the company I founded and co-ran with Nick. One of the best studios to work at, says a former. All we got is one review. Kiss ass. It is creativity and results oriented, very friendly. The boss does have the balls and imagination. Bing! Cons. Gamers often just want same shooters again and again. It's hard to survive in business when you're focused too much on art and imagination. Not a con. Just sad fact of life. That's a pretty good review. Who gave us that? I don't fucking know. I think I do know, but one me. I didn't enter my own goddamn reviews. Anyway, all right. I didn't do it myself, Steve, you prick. I really didn't. Where's your deposit slip? Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. Am I streaming the debate, Rory? I would love to, but unfortunately, we live in a world where presidential debates, I guess, are not important enough to become public-owned things. And so there are companies, in this case CNN, that has the broadcast rights to it. And yes, they will put it in a lot of places, but I'll get a copyright strike if I stream it. So Colin and I have been talking. We can't do it the next day because I'm on Constellation this week, but I think Saturday or Sunday we're going to do kind of a respond to the debate after the fact. So hopefully you guys will tune into that and give us your thoughts. Wasn't the boss the other guy, says Awesome Tatum. At Bartlett Jones? No. I mean, here, I founded the company. I went to Nick and I said, look, I can't do this without you. I knew that. And I said, once we ship a game, we're going to own it equally. I mean, we also had a couple other owners, but in terms of running the company and having majority share, it was 50-50 instantly once we shipped the game. Because I'm like, I don't know if you can really ship the game. I'm sure you can. He was staggering and remains so, and he's the head now of That's No Moon, which they still haven't announced their game, but they're doing something big down there. So, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, see, this is an interesting thing that a lot of people get fucked up on. Chasselie depends on career level. Might be good to go there for brand name and then hop elsewhere. Sometimes brand name on resume carries a lot of weight. The only place where brand name on resume versus actually what your portfolio shows carries a lot of weight is a company you probably don't want to work at anyway, frankly. Because if you can do the work to be at Sony, then you can do the work to be, and I'm not saying don't go to Sony, but I'm saying don't go there. I wouldn't chase a brand name because, you know, frankly, most people, if they're going to hire you as a programmer, artist, designer, they're going to want to see your shit. They're going to want to see your work. And in that, just because I worked at Sony and Miyamoto worked not at Sony, well, these are bad examples, but you know what I'm saying. Just because a programmer works at Sony and they're average, and a programmer is self-taught and they've made 5 indie games, but their 3D math skills are amazing, that's what'll matter the most. Okay. Let us continue with our journey through the news of the day. The news of the day. God damn it. Listen to this. This is look, you guys know I'm a Starfield fan. I'm looking forward to their DLC. I'm looking forward mostly to the vehicles. I've been playing around with some of the mods, but I haven't yet done the Bounty Hunter quest. Do you know, though, that the Bounty Hunter quest is a mod that is made by Bethesda, whatever those guys are. Bethesda, the Starfield team, I think. It's $7, which is fine, but it's 20 minutes long. I don't know what they were thinking. And again, I bought it because they give everybody a bunch of free tokens or whatever. So I haven't used real money, but when you sign up or whatever, you get like 100 free tokens and whatever. I spent the equivalent of $7 out of $10, right? And I'm like, what the fuck are they thinking? What the fuck are they fucking thinking? The first mission is not free because the main game, sure, but I'm saying if you log in to the new version of Starfield that has the mod systems in, and you say, "Oh, I would like to play," what do they call it? It's you can join a new faction or something of bounty hunters. They're like, "Yeah, you can have that. That'll be 700 credits, please," and that's the equivalent of $7. Which is weird to me. I mean, I don't mind that they want to charge for things. They should. It takes a lot of money and time to make video games. But I'm a little disappointed to learn from not just this article in Kotaku, but from a number of people who've played it, that this is it's so fucking short. It's so fucking short. Kai says, "I wish Starfield launched in current state. I hated Starfield at launch. 20 hours I hated. I loved it at launch. I've always loved it. I think it's excellent. But I know I'm, again, in a lot of things, a bit of an outlier." K-Nub says the gameplay loop is not good enough for extra mindless content. The story needs to be paired with the gameplay. Yeah, but that's what this is, I assume. I haven't played it, K-Nubs, but it is a handcrafted mission. It's not like it's an actual, you know, there's dialogue and narrative and stuff, I believe. But I enjoy it. Your mileage will vary, but I'm still very much looking forward to continuing to play it, and I will be doing that soon. But I want to wait for the vehicles to come out. Who cares about the new Street Fighter movie? I didn't even know there was a new Street Fighter movie. You see this story? I've been seeing this all over the net today because the original movie still makes lots of money. The original movie made about $35 million, made its budget back. Worldwide, it did $100 million, but that wasn't much, it says. But the movie still brings in, it says, according to this from Capcom's shareholder meeting, tens of millions of yen per year. And I don't know what that is. It's certainly not tens of millions of dollars, probably $1.5 million, but it's still a lot of money for a movie that most people look at and say, that's a piece of shit. And I've never seen it. I need to watch it. Maybe I should watch that with the goddamn pot and popcorn with the members. The movie was terrible, says Tim Duncan. That's what I always heard. And then I heard the story that Rod Julia was dying with cancer, but he made it for his kids. Isn't that a nice thing to do? The sniper rifle, says Masochista, that you acquire on the $7 mission, though, is amazing. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so it's $62,000 is what it comes to. Okay. That's still worth a news story, you old son of a bitch. Can you imagine? I mean, who gets that? I guess Capcom. Did you know, by the way, speaking of Capcom, I'm sure you did. I didn't. Capcom is putting their action strategy Onimusha-esque game on Game Pass day one this summer. I didn't know that. I forget what it's called. It's a weird name. But I saw that yesterday. I'm like, that's coming to Game Pass? That's I didn't know they had that much of a good relationship with those guys. Game Pass, what's it called? Strategy Action. They got to change the name. Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess. Here's an idea. Did the guy who named things for fucking Square Enix get fired? And did he go over to work at Capcom? Because this is the stupidest goddamn name I've ever heard of in my life. But this is, I hear people who've played it say it's really fucking cool. And it looks pretty fucking cool. So this is coming to Game Pass this July, I believe. Day one. How can you complain? How can you complain? The Street Fighter movie, Mutant Mo, had an intermission? Shit. Gone with the Wind had an intermission. The Color Purple had an intermission. Street Fight? How long was the fucking movie? Well, I'm glad they're trying. Kyle says Xbox has been trying to have a relationship with Japanese devs, so I think they're trying hard. Good. I mean, because I'm going to play it for free. Free quote. Anyway, it looks good. It's coming out. So I just wanted to share that information as we were talking about the Mighty Capcom. One of my favorite publishers, frankly. I still don't quite know how the gameplay works in this, but I'm excited to just figure it out when I play. It's strategic. It's turn-based, but I think... Is it... Okay, are you telling me that once you set it up in the bubble, it's action? Tell me that's not so. That's cool if that's the case. When is this goddamn game? I don't know. I'll do a little deep dive on this later, and we'll talk about it tomorrow if it bears discussion. But that's kind of cool. Why is it you think Xbox does not sell year-long Game Pass subs, says Kata? They will. They absolutely will. You're absolutely right. They need to protect themselves from the grind. You know, take off 30%, buy it for a year. Especially with all the games they have coming. But that's what a lot of the other systems subscription things are doing. Cheeseworks, it's coming to Game Pass. It's not on Game Pass yet, right? This is a July Game Pass drop is what I understood. Okay, why am I going to get canceled? The fuck am I going to get canceled for? I think this looks great. What, Capcom is going to cancel me? Look at this. Come on, fuck you. They make good games there. You know what somebody should write a book on? Here, Lil Steven Totillo. I know you hate watch me. Listen, here's what you need to do. Here's your next book. I want you to go to the companies that make great games consistently. I want you to go to From Software. I want you to go to Capcom. This is me giving you orders. Listen up, bitch. Capcom, From Software. You throw in Naughty Dog. I'm just trying to think of like things that wouldn't be a contentious addition, but let's just say you could find 5 or 6 of them. I want you to go to those companies, and your new book needs to be all about what is it these video game developers / publishers do that allow them to consistently make not just successful financial products, but most importantly, although they're very linked together, almost you can't unlink them in some cases, but in most cases you can't. But more importantly, great games, even if they're not your cup of tea. What is it about the culture? Nintendo, of course, yes. What is it about the culture of these companies that yield such a consistent bounty? It's like we're doing a metaphor. It's like harvest cornucopia. What is it about, cut and edit here? What is it about these companies that allow them to yield such a consistent bounty of great games and successful games? And I'm not even fucking with you. It's not like I'm doing a bit. I'm not fucking with you. Wouldn't you like to know? I would love to know. Is it the leadership? Is it a brilliant little blend balance of creative management team members and just good people? Is it crunch? Is it, is it a strong creative leader that everybody hates, but he gets or she gets, shit done? I don't know, but I would love to know. Hey, okay, let's pause that. Let's get back to the show. I went for a job interview, says Kaya, at Rare a year ago. I knew about Xbox's strategy to release games on PS5 long before. My friend who still works there confirmed to me Rare are working on another. Cool. Yeah, I don't give a shit about all that. I mean, I have all the systems, and I will play. What is this movie? I will play Consequences of Being Rude to the Girl in Front of Them. Let me go. You can't take that shit. Anyway, what are they doing now? What the fuck are they working on now? I don't know. If they're bringing something over, we know, of course, that they've already. I'll get you in a sec, Kenny B. We already know that they did Sea of Thieves. So what else is it? What, Grabbed by the Ghoulies? I don't know, man. Risk It for the Biscuit says, back to the topic with Stephen Totillo's book, which he needs to write now. It's not the culture. It's the legalities of laying people off in Japan. You then end up with studios that work together for a long time and understand the pipeline and process. Could be. I mean, I'm sure that plays a big part. But are you saying that only companies like are these? I mean, you're talking Japan, though, right? Are there any American companies or Western companies that also consistently can deliver? I mean, back in the day, Blizzard did. Blizzard could fire at will. They were in California. But they were able to sort of, maybe it was, I don't know, maybe at the very top they had it. Maybe it's if you give somebody so much money because they've been successful by hook or by crook, and they're a gamer first and foremost, and they're good at their jobs, they can just keep throwing money at it because they have no one to answer to, and they have the money. Because that's sort of like what we saw, I would imagine, with Blizzard for a while, and maybe even Miyazaki at From Software. Serious question, says Zach, do you miss your hair? God, no, I don't give a shit. But I mean, I'm a weird guy, man. I don't care about a lot of the things a lot of people do about, like, I have an ego, of course, and I have things about myself I'm proud of and things I'd like to improve. But when it comes to looks and, my hair and all that, I don't give a shit, man. It's just, I don't know. And I'm not trying to be self-deprecating when I say maybe a long time ago I recognized that I'm never going to be Tom Cruise or whoever the good-looking dude is of today. So fuck it. Why even, let me focus on the places where I rolled an 18 on the dice. You know what I'm saying? Kenny B, it's Jaffe. What's going on, bud?
What's going on, big dog?
I am doing a show on the internet. What are you doing, Kenny
What's
B?
going on, man?
Yeah, it's the Kenny B
Doing
show,
good.
everybody. What's up? What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing well. So last night, right, I just had this epiphany, and actually, I was thinking about you for a bit, right?
Uh-oh.
And there's a title that game you came out with uh years ago, Twisted Metal.
I remember it.
And I want to have some fun with you, right? I'm gonna give
Okay.
you a pitch for a
Mm-hmm.
game and let me know what you think about it. Or maybe, and
Okay.
if you have
Boy,
pitched it
I can't
already,
wait for the lawsuits. Go ahead. Pitch away,
oh
sir.
no, 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 not even, not even. So
All right. Pitch me your game.
I was,
Fuck it.
oh no, no, that's the thing. This is actually your game, but
Oh,
so
okay. Pitch me my game then.
there you go. So
All
I
right.
was curious, have anyone at Sony, and hopefully someone from Sony is listening, has anyone ever thought about taking what made the first few Twisted Metal games so great? Mind you, these games came out on the PS1, PS2. 'Cause
Mm-hmm.
I played them a bit all those years ago. Although back in the PS1 days, I was more into like Silent Hill and the
Yeah.
Metal Gears and whatnot. But
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
did play Twisted Metal a bit. So yeah, so why not take what made those games great? You have the technology now where I'm pretty sure you could recreate these games add some bells and whistles at a low cost, and make it day one on PlayStation Plus.
So I mean, they were moving along with a Twisted Metal service-based game. Whether it was going to be free in day one PS Plus or however they were going to monetize it, I don't know. And that was canceled along with a number of other service games in the last maybe 6 months or so. And I've actually spoken to some members of the team, and they've been understandably reticent to give me a lot of details, but they said, or one person said, there is going to be a time where I start sharing the stories and I will reach out to you and talk to you about it. So I don't have a lot of information, but what I can tell you is, I think the biggest danger on a game like that, and I've said this ad nauseum, and maybe they had cracked the code, but I thought with 2012, I mean, we were banging our heads against the wall in order to figure out even how to make that game back then relevant in a world of biped shooters that could run on walls and slide under low, and there was such a, as I said, like fidelity of motion and so much. It's kind of almost like, if you give somebody, I'm just trying to think of a good example because there are a bunch of them, but like if you give somebody God, Jaffe.
I see what you're saying. Like we're in the age of like the Rocket Leagues and the
not just that,
the
not
fast
just that,
pace.
It's not the pace. It's to do a shooter that is going to be able to go toe to toe with shooters that have so many more motion options. You have to figure out what you're going to replace that depth with. And we tried it in 2012 with game modes, which I thought we had a couple of really clever game modes, but inevitably, and the Tekken 8 guys actually talked about this a couple of months back, ultimately people like team-based modes and they like team deathmatch modes. Like they don't want to be responsible for the loss of their team. And so they also stick with modes that are really, really simple. And that doesn't mean they're idiots or anything. It just means that, it's a lower, the path of least resistance is, so the point being is we couldn't really make much headway with interesting modes, which brings you back to that core to core, moment to moment combat. And short of some real, almost savant like players, most people play Twisted Metal now and then in 2012. And they just walked away and said, okay, after the destruction and stuff wears off, it's fun, but it's not deep enough. And we just didn't know how to fix that. Now, maybe these guys would have, working in England that had their thing canceled, would have been able to fix it, but I don't know. And it's interesting. Yeah. Doug says, so you get bipedal action and car combat in one game. And that's the other part of it, is that right now you've got that in Fortnite. You've got that in Grand Theft Auto Online. There's plenty of games that have car combat with people and your buddies that can get in all the different seats and drive around and shoot and mount missiles and then get out and run around. So at that point, and those aren't beloved, those are still niche. People are bitching already about the new season in Fortnite, which is car combat.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, which is kind of petty because the game markets itself as a all-in-one venue for different type of game modes and different things.
And I like the car combat, but of course I'm wired to like the car combat. But so I think it's one of those things that do I think the IP is dead? Not at all. And I love that
of course, right.
And I love that the TV show has connected, because as much as they're going to bring more car combat into it looks like in the second season, they're connecting to the characters, the writing, the world. And I think there is something Sony Games has in that they could do something really cool and really low budget with. But I don't think if I were doing it, it would be cars. I think I would be looking into really, really violent guerrilla filmmaking style of video game, horror game, or I would be looking into something like almost like a retro RPG or something that lets us explore the lore and the world and stuff, but not actually in real-time car combat.
As a horror fan, I would be very interested to play a David Jaffe next gen horror game.
Yeah.
So that would be
I would love to do it if the team just magically existed in front of me, but I would never want to make games again if I got to be the guy that goes out and builds all that shit,
Do
because
all
it's
that stuff. Yeah, I got you.
it was
Yeah.
miserable. I mean, I love the result. We had a great team here in San Diego, but my goodness gracious, it's hard to build a company and then build a team and then build a game all at the same time. It's exhausting. So, all right, buddy, drive safe out there. Go save some lives.
Last quick thing. I'll leave you.
No, go
I'm sorry.
save some lives. You
Very
drive
quick,
an
very quick.
ambulance and you've pulled over and you've put on the not active,
No,
not
no,
on
no, no.
duty sign.
I'm off tonight.
No, there's a guy in the street. I can see it. He's right ahead of you. He's like, please save me. You're like, fuck you, bitch. I'm talking Twisted Metal.
I just wanted to say there's a Netflix show I watched last night. I just have to put it out there if anybody's interested. I fell in love with it immediately. It's called, I think, The Fall of the House of Usher.
Is that
that's the name of
yeah, of course. Yeah, that's the guy Mike Flanagan directed that.
Mac
right?
Flanagan. That was
Yeah.
especially in
I
horror.
haven't seen that one. I haven't seen it, but I've seen a bunch of his stuff. It's great.
Dude, check it out, and you could thank me later. That's all I'll say. I'll say about
Absolutely. Sounds good.
All right, be good, sir.
Be safe.
All
Bye,
right.
bud. There he goes, fellas. Fall of the House of Usher. What did I see the other day? That guy, Mike Flanagan, is directing, or he put it out there that I think he wanted to direct an Exorcist, or maybe he is directing The Exorcist film. I don't know, but he's great. I love that guy. Official says, what if the team that made Vigilante 8's second offense were to say, Jaffe, we'll make a game for you. You direct, would you do it? Yeah, but I wouldn't do car combat. Not at all. But I have, and the game I haven't played this one yet, by the way. People are actually saying Still Wakes the Deep is actually pretty good. I was reading a thread about this on NeoGAF. This is on Game Pass, but it's also, you can buy it. It's a walking sim horror game. It's from the guys, The Chinese Room, that did Dear Esther and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. And the reviews are like, it's like a 75, 76. And I was going to play it anyway because I love games like that. But people who are actually playing it are like, dude, this game's really fucking good. And I don't know why the reviews are so low. So I'm very much looking forward to that. The point is, to as it relates to what we're talking about, is I have a game like that I want to make. That would be, if the stars aligned, I would be like, fuck yeah. I'd put everything on hold and make that game. Not that topic. It's not about that at all. But I want to do a single player narrative based walking sim that I just think is the coolest fucking story that anybody's ever told. It's the shit, man. Wayne, did you ever find out why Fire Sprite Twisted Metal was canceled? No, I have no idea. I mean, I'm assuming it's not Witch in the Walls, no dog. I'm assuming it was canceled because the powers that be, whoever they were at the time, looked at it and said, we just don't see sunlight here. We don't see how we're going to get to the other side with it. Yeah, Dogman says Still Wakes the Deep is an awesome Game Pass game that you can play in one afternoon. I loved it. Those are quickly becoming more and more my favorite games. I was talking about this on the, and it hasn't gone live yet, but on the Xbox Jez Corden podcast with Randall. I just want to tell you what it is in case, if you like games like this, Game Pass, oh my God, Day One Walk Sim, hang on. It was a game, astronaut, what is this called? About this woman that goes to this planet to figure out why this AI that really saved the universe had gone offline. And she gets up there and she discovers that the AI has fragmented into 7 different personalities. And it kind of came and went. Nobody talked about it. But it's really good. And I played it in one setting. And I actually want to go back and play it because it's, there's multiple endings and stuff. But if I remember it, I'll post it on the channel because it's really good. Have I seen The Rig on Prime Video, a sci-fi horror about an oil rig? I saw the first episode. It is like Swedish, right? It was quite cool, but I just haven't gone back to it. It's not Returnal at all. What the fuck is that game? Give me 1 second, guys. I know if you're listening, you're like, Jaffe, move on. Move on! MoveOn.org. Ding dong, MoveOn.org's here. Shut up. What is that goddamn game called? Game Pass. I'll just put in Game Pass Walking Simulator, see what we come up with. 16 best walking simulators. Okay. Come on. Well, somebody else will find it, or I'll find it for you. But it's really good. It's really good. Maybe somebody in the chat's already said it. I just didn't see it. I don't know. We'll find it later. Okay. So, Artificial Life? I don't think so. No. Okay. Let's move on down the road. Look, I was not a fan, but I'm not a not fan. I could never get into the controls on the Dreamcast. But I know there's a lot of kids of the 90s and early aughts, as they say, that went ape shit for this. They released some screenshots of Jet Set Radio Remake. Visually, it looks great. I mean, it looks like it's stylized, not as stylized. And hopefully it plays better. I heard they were looking to sell these games. Somebody told me that the Crazy Taxi remake, they were going to sell that for like a $40 title. And I'm just kind of like, look, dude, that's fine. But if you guys just remake the arcade game, go fuck yourself. Because that game is great for 10 minutes. I have no idea what they're going to be able to put in there mode-wise or narrative-wise or variety-wise to keep your interest. But I can't fathom anybody wanting to pay $40 for what we... And there's no way they're doing that. There's got to be a number of things that they're adding to merit the that price hike. But anyway, and this is their remake of Jet Set, which looks pretty good. If you're into it, I will definitely give it a play. And we'll see. Real McCoy says, regarding Jet Set, if you play the original, the old school jank starts to show its ugly face, but back then that jank was peak gameplay. Yeah, no, people loved it. I just couldn't get into it. Really, K-Nub says, this is breaking news to me. Some of my favorite games, Bomb Rush, Cyberpunk, the spiritual successor. Yeah, at Keeley's show, I think it was Keeley's show, they announced Crazy Taxi and they showed it. Jet Set, they announced Golden Axe remake, and there was like 3 other like arcade remakes, but not just remasters, but like total remakes is what they're talking about. Tyler says Sony is just making PS3 games downloadable, don't have to stream it. I heard today that was a rumor that, Power Stone would be amazing. I would love that. I heard that was a rumor, and it may be true that there are going to be select PlayStation 3 games that will now be able to be downloaded to your PS5 that run natively off that hardware and you don't have to stream it. I didn't know that's been confirmed. I know a lot of people seem to look back on the PS3 with fondness. I really don't as a gamer. I mean, I was working at Sony. It was a terrible time to be working at Sony in terms of how unsuccessful that was for the longest time. But I know a lot of people do look back and remember the variety, almost like that was the last time PlayStation was really putting out some really unique stuff. And in that, I can appreciate that. But I can't think of anything that I would be like, goodness gracious, I can't wait to play that PS3 game again. I'm sure there are a few, but nothing leaps to mind. I'm sure most people will talk about the Resistance games. What else? What else are people dying to play again? Uncharted 2. I mean, you can probably play Uncharted 2 in the collection, so you don't need that. What else are people vibing with on that thing that's first party anyway? Carlos says, I loved my PS3, but I'm never going back after PS4, PS5. Yeah. Infamous 2. Okay. The Lord of the Rings games on PS2. Do you mean the ones by EA? We played the shit. Oh yeah, MotorStorm. The last MotorStorm, which was PS3, I think, was delightful. I didn't like any of the other ones, but MotorStorm, the one that was Apocalypse, I thought was excellent. Do you know the Lord of the Rings games, the first one that came out, which I think was Two Towers? The God of War team, we were just obsessed because we were like, if you ever played the first God of War, the one I worked on, there's a scene where Kratos comes into Athens and you see, what's his face? Ares off in the distance. And it was just like, it blew my mind to play a game where the storytelling was happening around you, not in the background, but around you, like they did in the Two Towers. And so I was just like, let's rip the fuck off of that in any way that we can. So That was pretty cool. Naughty Dog released 4 games on the PS3. Did they really? Interesting. So anyway, but again, my understanding right now is that's a rumor that was brought up on an Xbox podcast. But if you're saying that's an official story now, and it's come to light, that's great. Did they announce, what games were going to be in that list of select games? You guys are bringing up Return of the King. You know the game I really liked on PS2 that was also inspirational in some ways? There was a D&D game, a Forgotten Realms game from Don Daglow's company, was published by Atari. It had a strikingly beautiful box cover. Let me see. Dungeons, Dragons, PS2, Atari. What was this thing called? It wasn't Heroes. It was... you might remember this game? We played the shit out of it. Oh, Demon Stone is what it was called. I just remember loving the game, loving the box. We played a lot of that also as it relates to sort of preparing for God of War and trying to figure out what worked and what didn't work. Yeah, this was really cool. This was very, very cool. All right, let's move forward with our goddamn lives. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Move on with your life. Speaking of PlayStation, this is just something happening over on NeoGAF. Oh, by the way, I agree, Dogman. The mixtape skateboarding walking sim. I don't know if it's a skateboarding game, but the one that's coming out from Annapurna that we saw recently at, was it Sony? Was it Keeley's show? But mixtape with all the 80s music? Yeah, I'm fucking in. Just because the music and the kind of game it is. I don't know if it's going to be good, but it's Annapurna. It's 80s music. It's I vibe with that shit. I'm looking forward to it. So, the AI game is Return to Grace. Yes, that's what it's called, Cheeseworks. It's excellent. So if you're curious about it, you don't have to play it on Game Pass, of course, but it might still be on there. I think it is. Return to Grace video game. And this is probably like one of those Still Wakes the Deep games where people aren't really talking about it and giving it amazing reviews. It's got a 78 Metacritic, an 8 out of 10 on Steam. It'll cost you $15 unless you want to play it on Game Pass. It is just excellent. If you like those kinds of games. Okay. Your Cello buddy, he says, "Sir, how you doing?" I'm doing good. Keep the work. I'm trying. You have to do more of the wrestling voiceover videos. I love them. Oh, well, I plan on doing another one for the next, what's it called? WrestleMania. I missed this year because I got to get somebody to actually make the characters, but that was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you being a member, of course, my friend. Thank you, buddy. Stoner Joe has dropped a super chat. Here's what he says. Thank you for that, buddy. He says, "Look, Jaffe, careful what hallucinogenics you do. I wasn't always a world-famous billionaire responsible for mass..." Okay. I hear you. I'm not going to read that part. But I appreciate it. And I am going to be very careful because I do want to try some of these more spiritual, get outside your head kind of things. I'm all into that stuff. And I'm going to find the things that allow me to go to those places. But I get your point, Stoner Joe. It's a very good one, which is you got to be careful. Like even the stuff I'm going to get, I'm probably still going to have tested after I buy it. I don't want any kind of crazy shit, mixed in there. But no, I'm with you, and you are absolutely right to offer caution, and I do appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for that. I was telling people on Discord last night, can you imagine if Colin and I both go off and do this, and then we both like die in some hotel room when we're streaming, and it's just like, what a story, though. What a way to go out. Okay. I never got into Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, Robbo. That was the game they made before this game, before the Still Wakes the Deep. It just seemed too boring for me. Okay, that's interesting. Real McCoy says, "Hey, man, the mushrooms might just drop you off on the penthouse or the basement, but each floor has something to learn you." That's a good point. Very well put, sir. Over on NeoGAF, they have a little poll running. I thought it was interesting. Let me read this first. Carlos, of course, good Sir Carlos, great to see you as always. Thanks for being a supporter for all that time. 34 months. He says, "Jaffe, have you used Twitch Whisper?" No. It's really cool. Just don't use it to talk to kids. Either way, have a good day. Fuck you. I get that reference. No, I mean, I actually have used it a couple of times to talk to kids. But they're kids of my friend that I went to college with that wanted to get into streaming. And they're like, "Hi, this is blah, blah's son. can you tell me how to do this? But short of that, no. Yeah, I hear you, and I appreciate it. We'll get to that story in just a couple of minutes. Well, I will be doing it. Kevy says I unironically can't wait for that stream with me and Colin. I hope Colin. I'm not saying like Colin's a baby. I absolutely hope that he is serious. Sounds like he's serious. I want to do that shit. What 3 things are you looking forward to most from a PlayStation 6 is the question. I just wanted to give you the votes. I wanted to tell you where it stands. In last place out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 categories. 8 categories. In last place with only 6% of the vote, big one-player superhero games. In 7th place with 12%, expanded user experience, console, mobile, cloud streaming, PC. 6th place goes to 15%, immersive innovation in the user interface. 5th place is 26% return of single-player classic legacy IP. 4th place, 30%, is immersive innovation and standardization in input, output, controllers, VR, AR, whatever. 3rd place, 47%, 48%. New single-player AAA and AA IP. The number 2 thing that most people at NeoGAF are excited about as it relates to the PlayStation 6, 52% chime in and say innovative tech, AI, something called PNM/PIM, I don't know what that is, chipset scalability, etc. The number 1 thing that these guys are looking for, with 61% of the vote, large visual fidelity jump over PS5 and PS Pro. Now think about this for a minute. All of those things underneath this category, for the most part, that these people say they want, are being prevented more often than not by the number 1 thing they say they want, which is the big visual fidelity jump. Of course, everybody wants the big fidelity jump. That's always fun. But, you want that. Good luck getting a lot of cool new IP or R&D spent in a lot of other places, because that's what you guys want. And I get it. You give the customer what they want. Why would you not? Why would you not? But just be aware that this is the rock to the scissors, the paper. Shut up! Shut up! Rocks! I got NeoGAF. What do you mean, who's NeoGAF? NeoGAF's just a bunch of fucking video game fans. They post like big. I don't know if it's the number 1 game forum. It might be. Let's look that up. I'm curious. What is the number 1 video game forum? IGN's is actually number 1. Okay, the most active, but that makes sense. IGN, then GameSpot, then GameFAQs, then Reddit, then something called Joy Freak. I've never fucking heard of Joy Freak in my goddamn life. MMORPG, number 6. Number 7, Gaming Latest. Number 8 is Steam. 9 is Giant Bomb, and 10 is Minecraft Forum. They're not even in the top 10. They're not even in the top 10. Zero Signal says that's a perfect encapsulation of forum bubble. They say they want legacy IP, but we all know if they make a new Jack and Daxter, no one will buy it. It's totally true. It's totally fucking true. Okay. All right. Joy Freak. That's some Mutant Mo shit right there, says Awesome Tatum. I've never heard of it. I don't think it's a porn site. It's let me go to it real quick. It's got a Joy Freak. I'm not going to show you what I see. I want to see it. Joy Freak, 5 tips for reducing children's screen time. Is this parents? 5 tips to make gaming more enjoyable. What is this? This actually looks like a nice place to talk about games. What the fuck is game balancing, crafting fair and fun experiences. Where the fuck have I been all my life? Certainly not here. This is delightful. I'm going to be spending some time on this. Important ways to upgrade your live streaming room. This is the best website ever made. Joy Freak. You don't have to pay me to promote your shit. Good God Almighty. Okay, we're in. We're in. Go there. Joyfreak.com. I'll be signing up tonight. All right. That's pretty cool. You learn something new every goddamn day. It is time for me to say there are 4 people in the USA that I would murder for. One's name is Duke, one's name is Zach, the other is Eddie, and the 4th one lacks a name that rhymes with the other 4, but they're the God of Wars. It's Rotten Tanuki. Thank you, God of Wars. They support this channel. They have been doing it for a long time. Good Sir Duke, Rotten Tanuki, creator of the goddamn Day One Patch Kids, video game characters meets the Garbage Pail Kids. I'll be talking more about those pretty soon. I want to get some stuff on the screen for you guys to see that stuff. It's very cool. Go to the websites in the link below this video. Zach Procrastinate's been a member from the very beginning, along with Big Bad Eddie Torres. Thank you, guys. Everybody thank the goddamn gods of war, because they're one of the key things that keep this goddamn show going, and I appreciate it, fellas. Duke, Rotten, Zach, and Eddie T. Thank you, fellas. Now, let's get to this difficulty question. You'd kill for Susan Boyle? Susan Boyle, the woman who sang "I Dreamed a Dream of Time Gone By." That lady from the goddamn the goddamn Britain's Got Talent. All right, well, whatever. Anyway, fine with me. I don't judge. I hadn't heard somebody talk about it in a long time. Okay. Anybody who wants to be a God of War tier member, I'm more than happy to shill whatever the fuck you want, but they never offer. We've had lots of God of War members, and we've had few God of War members, and only Eddie T, for the most part, has said, Jaffe, I'm happy if you talk about my shit, and it's good because I love his shit. But we do a pretty good business for a small podcast. I mean, we get every episode, and it's thanks to you guys. We're getting live across the various channels. Who knows? I mean, it depends on the stats. There's really weird. Like it says we have 800 people watching now. We don't. We don't have near that. We probably have about 300 people watching right now. But that said, once it's all said and done, it goes out video on demand. We get anywhere from 3,000 to 8,000 per episode, which is great. And then there's the clips. So, it's only cost you $50 a month, and I'll hawk your shit if it's not, offensive. Anyway, what if we have no shit to show? We just want to support you. It doesn't have to be a product. Just say shit. K-Nub says, I want to send a shout out to Susan Boyle. I like the cut of her jib, and I'd like to go down her in a movie theater while she's watching the sequel to Grumpy Old Men 2. Things like that, Jaffe admitted to botting. I don't. I would never do that. Not because I'm like, oh, I don't want to get caught, because I think it's so shit. I want to be like Peter Parker when what's that guy's name? The Harry Osborn, Nathan Osborn says, you want to make it on your own Steam. I'm just saying that if you look at the channel on Streamlink, it says we have over 800 people watching, but I think what that is it's Twitch and Twitch and YouTube. YouTube accounts for the most consistent. But I think what ends up happening is it takes the Twitter account, and I have such a big Twitter audience, comparatively speaking, but they may only watch for a minute here, 10 minutes there, or whatever. But it doesn't seem to drain from that live user count. That's what I think is happening, but I have no idea. I'm not going to complain. Vitter, we did see the, Doug says, fuck yeah, Susan Boyle Cunnilingus and Walter Matthau. We did talk about the Superman suit earlier, Vitter. All right. All right, let me bring in Martin for a brief moment, and then afterwards I do want to talk about difficulty in Elden Ring. Here we go. Martin, good to talk to you again. How's things, buddy? I don't have a lot of time for chats like this today unless you got something game-related, but what's going on?
Yeah, I got game-related stuff. What's
All right,
up,
go.
I heard an interview or a story by Cory Barlog.
Cory
He
Barlog,
says
you
that-
heard a story about Cory. Okay, keep going.
He says that you told him to play King Kong, and I wonder. He says that you never played it.
Sure.
And I wonder if
King Kong
Yeah, by
from what's the guy's
Percy
name?
Jackson?
Ubisoft. No. Percy Jackson. No,
Yeah, I think.
Peter Jackson.
Oh, okay, Peter. The
Peter
PS2
Jackson
one, yeah.
had a game that was a King Kong game made by Michael Ansel, which is the guy who did Rayman, and then he also went on to do some other big thing at Ubisoft, and then he was working on Beyond Good and Evil. He did the first Beyond Good and Evil, which, by the way, comes out this week. At least the remaster, not the new one. And yeah, there was some stuff at the beginning of King Kong. Not so much once you actually get into the jungle and Skull Island, but when you're on the boat, that I thought did some really interesting storytelling through gameplay well. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a good game. I played it.
Yeah.
played the
So
whole
what's your
game.
question about that, though? Are you telling me Cory doesn't think I played it? I just told him to play it?
Yeah, he says that he thinks that you never played it. And y'all
Why would
talking.
he? When did he say that?
He made an interview when he was opening a box of God of War stuff.
I don't know. I didn't. Well, he's right if he wants to claim I didn't finish it. No, I did not finish it. But I don't finish anything for the most part. But I absolutely played about 3 hours of it. Thought it was great.
My second question is: have you ever played the Family Guy video game?
Which one? Because there's a bunch of them on all kinds of different
I
platforms.
think the PS2 one, the very first one.
What kind of game was it?
What kind of game was it? What do you
I
mean?
don't know.
I mean, it's a
What,
game.
was it a platformer, a racer, a shooter? What was it?
You could walk and shoot.
Okay. Hang on. Family Guy video game PS2. Let me just look it up.
Yeah.
It's just straight up called Family Guy. Came out in 2006. It kind of looks like action adventure, high voltage. It's kind of like an open world GTA / Simpsons hit and run kind of thing, I assume. I never played it. No, I love Family Guy, but I just never played it.
That's a good game. It's
Okay.
funny too. You should play that one if you
Cool.
get the chance.
Okay. Did you go over to our Discord and see that some magic? You know what? What's that?
I didn't say nothing.
Oh, well, Martin, by the way, just so you guys know, I want to blow your mind, Martin, because I woke up this morning and I want to show you what I discovered that was waiting in an inbox for me. And I'm like, wait a minute. Did Martin get my email? Because maybe you are on to something. Now, Martin called in Saturday and he mentioned this. Martin, are you looking at your screen?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Prepare to have your goddamn mind blown, sir.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Oh,
What
my
the
bad. I'm
fuck?
sorry again.
You see what's happening?
Yeah.
Martin
That's
said
crazy.
when he was younger, he saw this image in the clouds, right? Was this the image?
Kind of like that, yeah.
And it was Jesus in the clouds, and there were a bunch of Muslim men that were looking at Jesus in the clouds, correct?
Yes. That's crazy.
And now somebody made a video about it. Who
Yeah,
knew?
that's exactly what I saw.
Well,
I actually
you
saw
know,
Jesus too. I know how he looks.
did he
He
look
kind of
like
does
this?
look like how people say he looks, but
Yeah.
he almost kind of do look like John Wick, or
John
more
Wick? Okay.
more nicer.
Well, you're on
looking.
to something, baby. Hey, listen, thank you for the call. I'm going to get back to news, but always good to talk to you, sir. Call back anytime.
Can I ask you about God of War?
One more.
On an interview with Captain Cuba, you said there's an alien in the tower.
An alien in the tower.
Yeah, if I'm correct, I think you said.
Well, I'm not saying you're not correct. I just don't know what you mean. Can you be more specific? An alien in what tower?
I don't really know that. I think that's what you said when you were talking to him. I just wanted to know, are there aliens in the game?
In God of War?
Yeah.
The only thing that even particular could come close is that we had planned on the three wise men at the end of the game following the star to Bethlehem, and there are people out there in the kind of UFO zeitgeist that suggest that the Star of Bethlehem that actually guided the wise men was not the North Star, but it was actually a UFO that was flying and guiding them there. So tangentially,
So that's why you
maybe.
added that picture?
No. That we were just I assumed it was just a star, but that's the only thing in God of War that I can think of that is related to a UFO, and that's sort of after the fact. So I would say I don't know anything about that. But if you have the clip next time you call, send me a link and I'll take a look.
All right.
All right, bud. Thanks, buddy. There goes Martin, fellas. Always a good guy to talk to. Let's talk about Elden Ring for a moment. Wayne, though, yes, thank you for that. He says, I've never understood the foot fetish. Tongue jamming between toes. Just nah. Yeah, but I mean, that's why it's a fetish, right? I've never understood it either, but that doesn't mean anything's bad or wrong with it, right? It's just some people, I mean, look, my guess is that is probably the number one sexual fetish, is what I would assume because I hear about it so goddamn much. But yeah, it didn't kind of get into my brain, when I was deciding, or not deciding, but my brain was deciding for me, what would be arousing. It certainly was not feet. What's funny about feet is that I'm just kind of benign on them, whatever. I only think about them. My brother, though, finds feet so gross, and that is the most delightful thing to be watching television with him. And somebody puts their feet in the show, like whether it's a Tarantino movie or just nasty feet or normal feet, he gets so grossed out. It is so much fun to watch. But no, I know I couldn't tell you, but I hear you. I hear you. Okay, let's move forward though and get back to the only thing more interesting than feet. Game director Miyazaki. I bring this up because what we're not going to do. I mean, we can if you want, but how many more times do we have to have the conversation about should Elden Ring have a difficulty mode? Blah blah blah. It's whatever. Your mileage will vary. It'll never get solved. Who cares? Whatever. But I want to bring it up only for two reasons though, because there's a little bit of new data, especially in light of Erdtree, the DLC that just came out a couple of days ago, which is a lot of people are saying, even hardcore fans, and I haven't talked to Spazbo, who's kind of the Discord's resident savant of game playing. I don't know his take on it, but I will tell you that there's a lot of people who are core gamers that are just saying, hey, this has gone beyond hard and difficult and get good, and this is just stupid. Is that true? I don't know, because I have no intention of playing it, at least for the time being. Maybe if they put out some patches, blah, blah, blah. But I want to read you, and it's sitting in a mixed review right now over on Steam, by the way. And some of it's because of the performance on PC, but most of it is because of the difficulty just being what they consider to be so out of whack. And I told you guys that I was very fascinated, and I remain so, about how this is going to do. There was like almost 1 million concurrent players on Friday or Thursday whenever it came out over on Steam. So it came out the gate strong. But between the reputation of it being hard, and between, I think, a lot of people who probably did not come close to finishing the first one, even though they bought it because of the hype and it was delightful, my favorite game of all time, probably are going to stay away. So all this is kind of going on, and then Game Informer releases an interview. We've alluded to it in the past, but here's a quote with the game director and president of From Software, good sir Miyazaki. He says, when players are killed, and this is why I want to talk about this, because Miyazaki is now in this quote giving proof that my solution to this, quote, problem, whether you think it's a problem or not, he agrees. And I want to show you that, and then I want to show you an experiment I did yesterday on the internet. Here's what he says. When players are killed in the games, Elden specific, but From Software games in general, the Souls games, and they can understand why they were killed in an instant, and it just feels justified, okay, that makes sense, he says. That's the game design, and we're trying to achieve that, says Miyazaki. I know a lot of players out there are probably going to disagree. They're going to say, what are you talking about? This game doesn't make sense. What the heck? But we try to make sure that there's a learning curve and a feedback loop that the players are able to extract from that they can then bring into the next attempt. We believe in difficult games, but not games that are unjustly or unfairly so. But of course, there's still room for improvement on our side as well. So let's be clear. What he is saying is his number one goal is to make a game that, hard or not for you, if you fail, if you die, you should walk away from it, according to Miyazaki, and go, I know what I did wrong, or, that didn't work, but now I have a different idea, right? He doesn't just want to make you get good. He wants to provide you with data from your failure to allow you to get good. And what I also love about Miyazaki's take on these games is that he wants you to work with other people to figure out some of the things, because I absolutely agree. And this is where the experiment I did that I'm about to show you is really fucking it brings up some real interesting design conundrums, at least to me. But when what's great about the games that I've loved so much, especially about this one, is that if something is hard and I'm failing, 95% of the time in Elden Ring, not only can I walk away and grind my character, which I do find enjoyable, not everybody does, but even if I'm not grinding, there's so much neat stuff to discover. And there's so many neat, pieces of lore or different things to do outside of just fighting that it's insanely satisfying. So I get what he's saying, but I want to tell you what I've been sort of preaching, in sort of a sledgehammer way, is new consoles having kind of a meta speed dial that sits on top of all the games, like in the API of just the PlayStation OS, and any game can have that dial turned beyond 1 up or down based on what the player wants to do. And I understand not everybody's going to agree with that, okay? That's the sledgehammer way. But basically what we're talking about is the gameplay stays the same, but what you're adjusting for, just like you adjust for color blindness, just like you adjust for controllers because people are physically disabled, I think as you get more and more gamers coming into the space and staying in the space, and we see that when it comes to data and statistics, you're going to have to account for people getting older or people simply not being genuinely great no matter their age. But certainly as you get older, your reflexes slow down, right? Well, because this is what I did last night. I tried to do it with Elden Ring. I went and I bought Elden Ring on PC. And then I brought up this program. I'm sure you know it if you play on PC. I think it's called like Cheat. What is this thing called? It's called Cheat Engine. Okay. And what Cheat Engine does is it lets you, I'll just show it to you real quick on the screen. It lets you do a lot of things. But what it lets you do in this case is, let me drag it over there for you. It lets you basically pick the game you're playing. I'm not running any games right now. And then you can do enable speed check. And then you can then take the game and set it up to like 100 times normal speed. Or you can drop it to almost nothing. Okay. And all the tuning is the same. The damage, the weapons, all of it's the same. What it allows you to do is just like in Spider-Man 2 with their setting or Roller Drome in their setting, it allows you to have the same experience that everyone else is having that doesn't need that disability setting. And I think because StreamYard is up, and I'm going to put the link up under this video if you want to see it running in real time. But I went last night and I was playing this game, which I love, No Rest for the Wicked. And I took it into Cheat Engine, and I dropped the speed down. And again, this is probably going to run chunky for you, and that's not me, and that's not my footage. I'll put the actual footage up on YouTube after the stream. But again, for some reason, StreamYard seems to shit the bed when it tries to play video. And I'll get to you guys' chat. I see you're typing, but I just want to get through this topic, and then I want to see what you guys have to think about it. But okay, and I have commentary. But so this is it at normal speed, I believe, if I remember correctly. So I wanted to kind of show the fight. And maybe this is actually like 0.7. But where I decided to set it was 0.5. Okay, so this is, yes, and the character runs slowly as well. And again, I'm almost assuming you can't appreciate this while you're watching live. But just trust me when I say it's like watching combat in extreme slow motion. So not only is this great for allowing someone like me to go, I'm having the same experience, right? So when you guys talk about get good, it's like, dude, you know how to do it whenever he raises his fist or his shoulder kind of shifts or whatever. That's when you have to dodge. It's like, yeah, but my brain doesn't process it that fast. So by the time that occurs, I'm too late. I can't get out of the fucking way. So now I sped it up to like 2x because I wanted to get there faster, which is its own kind of design conundrum. It's like all I'm doing is racing to get there, and there's no gameplay. And it's like, you start to wonder, it's like, how much of this shit do you really actually need? It's not fun to run through that over and over. But regardless, though, I sped up to get there. And here we go. So now this is me off screen changing the speed to 0.5. And so, and so you'll be able to see it. Is this running normally? It is literally the same experience, Doug. I understand your point. You're saying it's not the same experience. You changed it. What you're missing, the point you're missing, is that the experience I care about is the experience that the designer wants me to have. So for me, I still haven't beaten this guy yet, right? This isn't cheat mode. It is for someone like Spaz or maybe someone like you. And 0.5 might be a little slow, maybe like 0.6. I know what to do. My brain just can't process it, right? But now, like that hit, every single hit in this game that I take, every single one, like Miyazaki was saying, I go, that's my fault. Because I get, oh, yeah, I just wasn't paying attention. And one of the things that I loved about this experiment last night is if you look at the character and you look at the little green dial, that's her stamina. And when I am playing normal speed, and this is a get good thing, okay? But when I'm playing normal speed, I struggle to focus when it comes to wasting stamina. And a lot of times I will overspend it and I'm fucked. But when it's going slower like this, my mind, and this may be where your mind is at normal speed, my mind says, oh, you're doing that thing, Jaffe. Like I have the space in my brain. I have the bandwidth to think and go, oh, you're doing that thing where you're pounding the stamina button. Don't do that. And then I can stay alive longer. But this is not easy for me. I still haven't killed this dude. So all I'm saying though, and again, I don't care if you call it cheating. I'm not in this for some kind of fucking kudos or anything. I'm in it for design philosophy. I'm in it for the love of the medium. And so when I hear Miyazaki himself literally say, we want every battle, if you lose it, yeah, it's hard, but you should walk away with some information about what you did poorly. Well, when I play like this, I can process what I did poorly. And again, I'm sorry, this is so ignorant. Like, I can't tell Tim Duncan, I know you're a troll, but I do know somebody called in recently and was really kind of talking up the value of hard games because they asked me, I was just so surprised to actually hear this come out of a real person's mouth. I thought it was just sort of internet troll stuff. But they said, don't you think that that's a real sense of pride when you beat a game and all this stuff? And I'm like, I don't. But regardless, though, when you say this isn't the intended experience, actually, this is the intended experience. If you go by what Miyazaki said when he was quoted in Game Informer about this very issue. Because let me ask you a question, Tim Duncan. If Tim Duncan, wasn't that the name of the dad in Good Luck Charlie? It doesn't matter. Teddy was the kid. Teddy was the teenage girl. Tim Duncan. I don't know. Anyway, the point being, when you play this game, let's just say this game, because we're looking at this, not Erd Tree, at normal speed and you die, your brain, if you don't need this kind of help, is able to do what the game director intended, which is you walk away with data of, oh, I fucked up because see how he does that? He's going to push the shield. Oh, I got it. It's not a straight slam. See how he's actually slamming there and rotating? Seriously, I'm not just making a point. I'm trying to point it out literally. So he's going to rush forward right here, and it looks like he's going to slam the sword forward, but he rotates. He tracks a little bit, right? Well, I can't recognize that at normal speed. That is absolutely not about getting good. That's that when you're running it at normal speed, I wasn't able to recognize that pattern. So what you recognized at normal speed, Miyazaki's happy with because now that data lives with you to get better. What I recognized at normal speed is frustration and I want to quit But what I recognized at this speed is, oh, the same thing you recognized at normal speed. So how am I not having the experience that the game director wants us to have? It would seem that this experience at full speed is basically not what he wants us to have. This experience is a fucking nightmare at normal speeds for me. It's not a badly... it's a badly... Okay, so Blood Money says, Jaffe, that's just a badly designed boss. It's not, though. In the sense that it's not in the world of... It's not a badly... I'll keep this up while I'm looking at the chat, sorry. It's not a badly designed boss in the world of these sorts of games, because Elden Ring has the same issue, which is, they move really fast and it's hard to read what they're doing. They don't have like lights that flash on before the weapon goes or anything like that. Do you mute the sound? No, all the music and everything is normal speed. I don't know why it's just. I don't really care though. Sixbug says if it's a feature in the game, then it's fine. When people add mods, it's cheating. Cool, great. I don't care. I want to see Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo add this everywhere. On every game, it sits atop because your gamers are getting older again, if I was able to go in here and kick this guy's ass, I would agree with you. I would say that's ridiculous. I would say that's absolutely ridiculous. You can have a mod that cheats, but you don't want to make that a demand for games. But that's like saying that, a guy who is physically disabled and needs a certain kind of controller is cheating. No, he's just getting to play the game with an experience that feels like yours, is what I would say. Saying this is not the intended experience is like saying someone out of shape working out is not having the intended exercise because fit people push double the weight. Right. That's a great point, actually, because if you are used to ethical, it's a great point. If you are used to bench pressing 500 pounds, I don't obviously know much about bench pressing. Is that possible? If you can bench press 500 pounds and it is like everything you can do, but you put your gut into it and your heart and your soul and you listen to music and you're, motivated. But for me, that experience comes at 20 pounds. It is the same experience. I won't have the same experience you do. Now, would I, and you could argue, yeah, but it took me 5 years to be able to do that. Sure. But we're not talking about the character advancing. We're talking about you as a human, maybe for whatever reason, are more inclined to value exercise when you started lifting. So you were already ahead of me. Genetically, you might be more predisposed to build muscle faster or whatever. So if you use that as a all for one answer that everybody has in order to say, is this the intended experience? You're actually getting further away from it. So that's all I'm saying. And more importantly, as it relates to Elden Ring, goddamn Miyazaki agrees with me, so shut up. But I know that's his game. It's only one game. But it's interesting. I'll bring you in a second, Tatum. Dizzy Death says, finding ways of conveying that information at the intended speed would be ideal. What I'm arguing, though, Dizzy Death, is that information is conveyed at the intended speed if your brain can process it. If your brain is younger, or if your eyesight is such that you can read the moves and separate something from the background colors more than someone else. But fundamentally, the fact that I can't read the moves, I don't think has anything to do with the animation. And if you were to put a tweak in that made the animation read better, like more dramatically, at any speed, that would be more of a cheat to me than this. Tyler says, why do they care if someone cheats? They're not playing it. I don't know, but the reason I care about it is because as a one-time game designer and as a always adorer of the art form, and as someone who is getting older, all of those things to me, that's why it's more interesting. It's less interesting about are you going to actually add this mode to Elden Ring, and more about if the director really wants the game to be appreciated by his vision. They're actually doing themselves a disservice, in my opinion, by not adding these things. Okay, I'm going to bring in Awesome. Awesome Tatum, it's Jaffe. What's going on, champ?
Jaffe, what's happening, bro?
Well, I'm just doing a stream, man. What are you doing?
Well, let's talk Elden Ring. Okay, so I want to make sure I understand what you're trying to say, because I feel like for you, again, the reason that you're saying you wanted to slow it down is more so kind of the ADD thing, right? Because you're saying no.
It plays a factor as it relates to the hang on, let me move this. I'll bring this back up, Bookster. It plays a part as it relates to me being able to have a little bit more bandwidth to focus on that green meter. Whereas when it's moving at normal speed, I'm so unable to just settle, be present. Yes, that's the ADD. And in fact, the one great lesson I did get from that esports coach was he says, the number one thing I tell people is you'd be surprised how little a lot of people, when they're playing games, single or multiplayer, but we were talking multiplayer competitive, he said, you'd be surprised how little people recognize they're not breathing. And he says, if all you can do is remember to just sort of settle in, you're going to open up some more bandwidth to focus on what you need to focus on. So that is in play. But the bigger part of it for me is just the reading the patterns. Like, I mean, you can see it, and that's not ADD. That's just reflexes and being able to recognize visually. Like I said, I mean, watch this. Well, let's look at this. I mean, the other thing I was going to say, what's great about this is if you are considering game design as a career or a hobby, or just you're curious, to watch this at a speed like this, even if you would never play it this way, it is so fascinating to see the little tells they bake in that you would have never noticed before. But in this case, there's a thing I tend to do a lot where I don't recognize the moves when it's running at fast speed, where he's tracking. Like some moves when he swings, it just swings and he doesn't move. In other moves when he swings, they'll rotate his body to track the player. Well, when that's going at normal speed, I can't fucking read that. I don't know where that occurs. And so when I'm playing it at this speed, I'm able to go, oh, that's a move where I need to dodge, right? Or let's see what he's doing right here. He comes in, I dodge to the right because I know he'll track, but I knew I could get out of the way. And now these things that he's looking away from me, now I can hit him, right? I mean, isn't that what we want? Game directors, I've solved the puzzle if I can do that. That's what I want when I was designing games. I want you to figure out the puzzle we've made. It's not about do you have great reflexes. That's your mileage will vary. Yeah,
I mean, again, let me first say that, this goes to like people picking on people that play in easy mode. It's like, if you want to play the game and this is how you get your enjoyment, fuck everybody, right? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, but I'm not addressing it from that. I don't give a fuck.
No, I got you. I'm just saying it's one point.
I'm just talking more about the art form and sort of.
Yeah.
If you're the director, how's the best way to actually give you what your vision is, to give everybody that, more people that?
Okay, well, let's on Elden Ring only, and I'm going to talk about Dark Souls because Dark Souls is a different conversation. But for Elden Ring, one of the benefits, and you know this, you've played a lot of hours in Elden Ring. There's so many ways that you can attack a boss. For example, looking at No Rest for Wicked, it's a Soulsborne, right?
Right. Combat, yeah.
But the difference with Elden Ring, and I can tell you this, I've got hundreds of hours in it. I don't need to give my resume on it. You know. The difference with Elden Ring is, first of all, it's all about build strategy. It's not necessarily reflexes, because like if you're a mage build, you can stand in the back and
just magic the fuck out of them.
Yeah, right. You can magic the fuck out. You don't have to have the reflexes. You could just put all your stats into, I'm not going to Elden Ring geek out here, but you can put all your...
you two on a different podcast because I do need to respect my character.
Yeah, me and Spaz need to hook you up, man.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But I absolutely agree. But what I would... And that's what leads to even a deeper problem, though, right? Which is even in this game, because I was like going, okay, well, Jaffe, maybe the reason even at slow speed you're struggling with this character even though there's not much more to do at this point, it's early access, and I think I'm about the time where I should be fighting this character. But I could go out and grind even more. I could go out and solve a few extra missions to get some money to buy some different gear. And I do love that about RPGs. The problem with that, though, is that I do think that when you have such a fluid definition or a number of ways to skin the cat, I will tell you, as a guy who has sunk hundreds of hours into Elden Ring and still cannot beat the current boss I'm on, and it doesn't feel fun or challenging. It just feels like if I'm going to beat him, I'm going to get lucky at this point. It's like I don't want to go out and look for another larval tier, and I don't want to go out and grind. I've done, it's like I agree with you, but there's a point where that just becomes tedium and you disengage. And I think a game needs to recognize that ideally and say, okay, he's put the work in. For whatever reason, he didn't get the memo on the best way to spec the character for his play style. And Miyazaki might say, well, you're supposed to use the internet for that. I want you to reach out to people like Awesome Tatum. But I'm like, I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough because there's a point where you just say, fuck it, I'm walking away.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it, right? I mean, I get it. Like you're struggling with the Dragon Boss on the base Elden Ring, right?
I've gotten past the horse guy.
He's on the stairs.
No. He's the horse guy's on the stairs. I ran past him.
Oh, you went to Malekith.
Yeah, and now he turns into stage 2. Right. And I've almost beaten him, but then I'll go back 5 times and not come close to beating him. And I'm like, this just feels like luck. I can't read what he's doing. If I could actually read what he was fucking doing, then I think I'd be in better shape. But it's too fast for me to recognize his animation patterns.
Yeah, because his pattern, he does like 3 different patterns at unpredictable things. So when you look at Elden Ring again, and you can even No Rest for Wicked, like the 2 most common techniques to beat a boss without a summon, because in summons,
I have a summon.
Summons are fine. He built that in the game.
I love summons, but what is the guy? What's the one that makes a model of you? I have that one.
The mimic tier.
Mimic tier. Yeah.
You want to +10 that bitch, and that's easy mode.
Well, it's easy mode, but that boss Malik still kills him every single time after the first stage, like with 1 hit. So
right. Yeah, but there's again, like for Malekith who jumps and all, there's a pattern. Malekith is weak to bleed, so bleed is good. Lightning is good. But there's 2 ways. So when you have
how did you learn that he was weak to bleed versus weak to sleep or weak to poison or weak to blight? Where did you get the data from?
Well, it's get my ass kicked. But I did the research on the internet. So there's several great. There's Effects of Life and there's great.
Yeah, there's something weird. There's something weird about the necessity of that, but I don't dislike it. But you knew, like that's. I think that's the question, right? Mm-hmm. When you're stuck in Elden Ring, you can go, oh, it's a grind issue. I'm just not strong enough. I mean, or it's a build issue, or I'm not using the right type of weapon because this character's susceptible, or you don't have the reflexes like me to read and recognize when these 3 different sets of
it's all the above. It's all the above.
And so when you don't know what it is, then it's even more work of like, well, I don't know how to skin this cat, and I've been trying to skin it for 100 hours. Go fuck yourself is my problem. I don't think that's a desirable thing.
Totally agree, but Souls players will argue with you and tell you, and I see it right now with the Shadows of the Erdtree, because the bosses are motherfuckers, right? Oh shit, I hope I'm going to demonetize the bosses anyway. But the problem is that they're so hard, but shit, I lost my train of thought.
Well, you were. I was saying there's so many ways to skin the cat, and when you don't know, and you.
It's that exhilaration that Souls players get from finally figuring it out. Even if you did your research and you go under the blood build, or you go on there, whatever build, there's 2 techniques like Souls players. You get behind the enemy, slash, don't get greedy, roll back, let him do his 15 attacks, roll back. Sometimes it'll take you an hour to beat a boss, but when you beat it, you fucking figured it out, and it is the best shit ever. So it's like, I would counter what you're saying. I totally agree. Like, who wants to put in the work? But the people that put it, the Souls player tell you, I want to put in the work because when I beat that bitch, even if it's like 50 times or 100 times, when I beat it, it's the best shit ever. So that's a counter.
And I think it's a good counter. And look, as a guy who's beaten Bloodborne, I mean, I love these games, but I would say that even with that, like the thing you're talking about is, I mean, it is ironic that it's like putting in the work means going and looking at the cheat sheet on the internet. But that said, because I'm sure there are some. No, I'm sure there are some. Technique. I know, but I'm sure there are some Elden Ring players that would say, going, here's the only acceptable solution. And you may not agree with this because this isn't how you played it, which is if you were getting your ass handed to you, you should know by now there's got to be something he's weak to. So try everything. Oh, you don't happen to have any blight, whatever seeds or whatever. Okay, go find some. That's what they would say. But you would say, oh no, my version of getting good is reading the internet solution, right? So for you, the getting good doesn't lie in the reading and recognizing the patterns because your brain can do that. But for, so for Souls players that do that, slowing the game down would be a cheat. But I'm kind of going, well, why don't you look at using the internet as a cheat? I mean, and I'm not saying. What's that?
Well, I think most players, again, there's specific corners of Soul players. It's ridiculous, right? And, there's
every fandom,
right? Yeah, there's the no summon guys. Like, oh, if you use a summon, you're a bitch, right? Or, if you don't beat the boss at level 1, you're a bitch. So like, you can never win. But like, I've tried it all. Like, I've done bosses at low levels and just got good, as I say, with the reflexes. I've got the, use summons, did the strategy. Oh, he's weak to lightning. Okay, I'm going to have a lightning. I did it all. And it's like each one of those gives you a different exhilaration. I'm just saying that's
I get it.
That's fun. That's the fun part.
And I do get it. But let me ask you one final question on that, or two final questions. Number one is, do you concede the point that you're like, if you could somehow chart out, or a supercomputer could say, Awesome Tatum's sense of work put in was 7 out of 10, and his exhilaration was an 8. And I played the game, but I had some of these tweaks, and my work put in was a 7 out of 8, or 7 out of 10, sorry. And the exhilaration was an 8 out of 10. We had the same experience, but it was a different way to get to it because of all the things that we bring to it from the beginning. Do you think that is a better use of the art form, or do you think having a one size fits all, but it really doesn't, because only some people are going to be exactly what Miyazaki wants and everyone else is going to be some kind of outside of that perfect player? Which is the better way if you could snap your fingers and get either? I would say the first.
I mean, yeah. I mean, again, it goes back to what you're saying, what I'm saying. We're both saying the same thing, just in different ways. It's whatever gets you that exhilaration. If it's I go look at the guide and figure out what he's weak to, or if, hey, I've got the reflexes and I can beat him with the dex build, even though he's strong toward my it's whatever gets you there, I think is the point. And if slowing it down, like I think Spider-Man or some game does
Spider-Man 2 does it, Roller Dome does it. And I'm fine. People say, "Oh, you can't take trophies away." Who gives a shit? I don't know.
I mean, Souls fans are so fucking fickle about everything. Fuck them.
I want to see this applied to lots more games, and I'll tell you, because when I played this, and I knew it would work, but I had never fucked around with cheats because I just never had a desire to, or never entered my brain. But when I did this experiment, I was so delighted to act. This is a fun boss for me to fight now. I still can't kill him. Yeah. I still may need to go grind my character up, but I love now that I can see the things that strategy guides talk about, or you guys talk about, when it's like, oh, you got to wait for this move and then you move in. I'm like, I was never able to see that before.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would say is I do think you could do this, right? I mean, without the slow-mo, and it would be much more satisfying with you. That would be the only thing.
But I don't think it would feel as fun to learn it, though. Like it would be
okay. So it's about the journey, not the end result.
Well, because the journey would be probably more predicated on luck more often, whereas this, I would feel like, oh, I beat him because I could read the pattern and I solved the puzzle.
Yeah,
When
like
I've
right
almost,
now, you could hit him from behind, get 2 shots, don't get greedy, roll back.
yeah, then
He's
I feel
gonna
like I've done
Yep.
something. Whereas
Yeah, you
on
can figure it
Malik or
out.
whatever his
Okay.
name is, when I've gotten close to beating him, the fact that I haven't gotten close to beating him again, all that says to me is I got lucky and I don't know what the fuck was happening.
Get behind the pillars, Jaffe.
I
pillars.
have, but also
You
final
got to
thing on
roll
this.
forward, man.
Final thing on this.
You got rivers
is
of blood, man. Fuck him up.
It's not as good as that people tell me. I wish it was as good as people tell me.
Yeah.
But what's great about this game also, the Souls cameras, especially in Elden Ring and rooms like that, you are manually fighting the camera and you are
It does
also,
happen. Yeah.
whereas this is like, okay, you want to see the bad guy? We're going to pull the camera back for you. Like there is a mod that lets you pull the camera back in Elden Ring. And I do wonder if I would enjoy it more for that as well, because then I could actually read what the guys are doing. But a lot of times, and people are like, well, you have to listen for the sound. I'm like, yeah, I know. But fuck you is my answer. All right, buddy. Good chat. Thanks, man.
you,
Talk to
Jaffe.
you soon. All right, let me get this from Bookster. Bookster says, it's ironic the Get Good community is now complaining the game is too hard. I'm back to Elden Ring just so I can see how hard the DLC is. Yeah, I mean, not all of them. And there are people. We had a guy call in Saturday to the Saturday show, and he was at the final boss of the DLC. So not everyone's complaining, but there are a lot more than I expected, given how historically hard these games are. It shouldn't come as a surprise, but to hear people talk about it that are complaining, this is beyond acceptable. But I don't know. All right, let me go to the chat real quick here. See what you guys are chatting about, and then I do want to talk about Dr. Disrespect real quick in a moment. Let's see. JSD, good to see you, buddy. He says it's both. It's not hard. You define what cheats you. You define what cheats are to you. Sure. But again, I'm less worried about being stamped with a scarlet letter of cheater and more worried about how can games best express the vision of the creators. Because I would argue that if you go by the quote in Game Informer from Miyazaki, what we're playing right now is brilliant, but it's not getting us there, is what I would say. But thank you for that super chat. I want to make sure to miss any other super chats real quick. Okay. Let me go to the live chat, see what you guys are talking about. If I've missed you and you really want to say something, just retype it. I was on a different screen when all that was coming in. Eddie T says it's really not that hard. People are just crybabies because there's max level characters are useless at the start. They got to man up. Haven't played it, but I'm sure people would disagree with that, but I hear you. Jaffe can't see any boss's movements, but he noticed perfectly the new Contra is not responsive. That's not true, though. What I noticed was when I played it, it felt wrong and I was getting hit and I'm like, I don't think this is my fault. And then I went back and I watched it in slow motion. It wasn't that I could identify the problem. All I knew was something felt wrong. So fuck you. Okay. Goodrich, game designer David Goodrich says, dynamic difficulty tuning a subject near and dear to my heart. It has been in games since Ratchet and Clank 1. You need to come on and talk about, I didn't know you worked on Ratchet 1. I knew you worked at, what were the guys who were in the Treehouse? What were those guys called? Not Nintendo. It was, they did a bunch of the Ratchets for the PSP. I think you worked on those, right? We should talk about that. I'll get you on sometime soon if you're interested and available. Okay. The journey is internet research, says Fuzzy Logic Pass. Well, I'm just saying. I mean, and there is something cool about that to me as a guy who came up with video game manuals and loved poring over them for hints and tips and stuff that the developer put in there. It is kind of cool, even though the developer doesn't do that anymore, to go, oh, there's all this stuff on the internet that can help. My dad was not a gamer, no, because he was, I was 7 when the first, or 6 when like video games really became a thing with Space Invaders and right before. Okay. Jaffe, what would you do with the trophies? Should they still be on? No, I don't care. No, I would say that I would not want to, ethical human, I would not want to, because even though it doesn't work for me, I don't really give a fuck about, flexing video game skills. And I'm rolling my eyes because I just think it's so silly. But I appreciate that that's not silly for a lot of people. And a lot of people do seem to think that that's something to write home about. And or they just enjoy the collection part. And so I wouldn't want to remove that from them. And I certainly would be more than happy to say, yeah, if I turn on any of these sliders, then for sure the some of the achievements, or all of them, or at least the ones that relate to these sliders directly, should not be what is being celebrated via trophies or achievements or whatever. Blood Money says, you talk like the vision couldn't be the money. Souls makes the difficulty a selling point, but in Elden Ring, they completely overshoot it just to make people talk. Yeah, I mean, Blood Money, all I can go on really is what the press is and what Miyazaki said directly. I'm not suggesting we don't live in a world where the minute they walk away from the press, they go, those fucking idiots, don't they know that the actual point is to sell tons of copies and we get that done by making this debate happen? I get it. But I don't have that data, so I will agree with you that it's possible, but I don't have any data to suggest that's what's happening. Yeah, see, Eddie T, I don't live that way. I don't mean that like, that's a bad way to put it because it sounds like I'm being elitist. I don't mean it like that, but he says, I felt emasculated when I couldn't beat a boss last night. I came back today and kicked his bitch ass. I don't attribute any of my own personal real life sense of things that I dig in life to that. And I'm not saying there's a problem if you do. I'm just saying that for me, I just can't relate to that at all. Jaffe only cares about what's cool in society when it fits his narrative. Being good in video games is not cool, but being good in sports is. What are you talking about? You're an idiot. You're a troll. I can't even. This is the problem by the way with trolls that are long timers, is I get to know you're a troll, and then you cry wolf too many times, and I don't know if you've actually offered up a valuable point that people care about. Because to suggest that what you just suggested is accurate, I'm like, maybe he is trying to say this, but I'm like, he's not worth digging into the sentence, because he's always, if you're not a troll, you're always fucking negative, and I don't have time for either. Let's put it that way. Ravnos, let me bring on Ravnos, and let's change topics to Dr. Disrespect. Ravnos, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, I came in a little late, but the topic is interesting. I'm playing Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Yes.
And is it hard? Yeah. Is it unfairly hard? No.
Okay.
The problem is with Erd Tree, and then I'll get to in general Souls games.
Okay.
The problem with Erd Tree is a lot of people, they like to rush through these games as like a badge of honor. Like, ooh, I first tried every boss and I beat it in like 24 hours or whatever. Yeah, no. You're not going to be able to do that in this, because you have to collect these things called Scudatree or Scudatree fragments.
Okay.
They are how you get more powerful in the DLC. In the main game, you get more powerful with leveling up your gear, leveling up your character,
right,
finding better stuff.
I haven't experienced that, but I read about that when they were doing previews, and I thought that was actually quite cool that they gave you a different way to level up.
Yeah, and what it is every time you increase your, I can't remember what's called, Shadow Realm something, attribute, it's a 5% increase to both the damage you deal and a 5% decrease to the damage you take. So if you are someone who got to like level 250 in the main game, and I'm on New Game Plus 4, and you're like, I'm so badass, and you go in there and you ignore looking for those things and finding them, you will get the living shit knocked out of you, because you're going to be super weak compared to what the game wants you to be. And the reason they did it like that, it wasn't to punish people who played a ton and got high level and have great gear. It's because it's the only way to fairly balance everything around, people who are, I never beat Elden Ring, but I did beat Moog. Or people who are like, oh yeah, dude, I went through Elden Ring and I'm on New Game Plus 7 and I'm like level 500. So the way they balanced it was with a new system That's just a blanket buff. So if you were already powerful, that 5% is a much bigger buff than someone who wasn't that powerful, than that 5% they get. And that's how they did it.
Well, I mean, there is a there is a very good point you make. Possibly, I see. Thank you for the super chat. I see JSD saying, "I don't see how it's different than Breath of the Wild. Explore people." And William says the problem is people aren't finding scattered tree fragments, using dry livers, defensive talismans +2, boiled crab, etc. It isn't just the scattered tree fragments.
Well,
so,
no,
but what's interesting about that to me, though, is again it goes back to, you know, where is the intention, or what should happen? Like, is Miyazaki sitting back and cackling and going, "This is exactly what I want"? Because my understanding is, and I didn't look at it on Steam, is that that game, Elden Ring, the first one was review bombed at first and mixed because for many of the same reasons, people didn't know how to play it. Is he sitting back going, "You stupid sons of bitches, don't you know my tricks yet? In about a month, you guys are all going to work together and you're going to start to learn that you're playing it wrong and you need a lot of these things. Yeah, you can play it old school Elden Ring, but you probably shouldn't unless you're a fucking savant." I mean, there is that argument. And then the question becomes, is that good? Is that wise? Should he have made it much more clear at the very beginning? It's like, hey, you're stepping into something new, or is that part of the fun for this game?
Well, I mean, are you talking for specifically the expansion or just the Soul series in general?
Well, I'm talking Elden Ring and now Erd Tree.
Okay.
Erd Tree clearly is, if what you're saying is true, and it sounds like a bunch of people in the chat are agreeing with you, if what you're saying is true, then there are going to be a lot of people that come to this going, "Oh, I'm just picking this up right where Elden Ring left off, and I'm New Game Plus 4, and I'm a badass, and what the fuck?" Is that part of the journey, and he is willing to risk losing customers and pissing people off because he knows after people start talking, it's like, fucking, I'm going back in. I heard this guy, William and Ravnos and JSD saying, here's a way you could play it, and fuck, they were right. Like, is that the great part of this? Is that the fun of this?
Look, in an interview, I'm
not saying it's a bad thing, by the way. I think there's something quite beautiful in that, but I'm saying it comes at a risk.
From all of the interviews I've seen with Miyazaki about the Soul series and Elden Ring, he always thought of it as a cooperative game.
I heard that too, yes.
So he never intended for people to be running around as a wretch or whatever they're called, where you have all your stats are shit and you use a rusty dagger and you beat the game with no armor and without ever leveling, like my son does on the Dark Souls games because he's a weirdo. He intended for people to play it and explore and get their ass handed to them and realize, oh, well, I can't do this alone. I need help. So, hey, I'm going to summon this person who also needs help. Because in the early games like Demon Souls, it was all weird in those ones because you had like, oh, well, when you die, you're in a different state than you are normal. So your health is lower and your stats are lower. So you kind of like have to defeat a boss to become whole again. Elden Ring doesn't do that, and neither does Erd Tree.
Gotcha.
But okay. His initial idea was, he said that there was a really bad snowstorm in Japan.
I love this story. You tell the story, but it's a beautiful story. I don't know how true it is, but if it's a true story, it's just fucking beautiful. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've heard it. Where basically no one could get up this hill in town, and what started happening was people just slowly bunched together like a train, and they all pushed each other up over this hill because no one could get up it. So they're like, hey, if we work together, we can do it.
See,
and
I heard it was a flat tire. I heard it was somebody had a flat tire and helped him, and he wouldn't have been able to change his tire. So I love that it's just this mythos now. Who knows?
The time, yeah.
Yeah, but I love it. It's a beautiful way to express his design intention. So, and I'll tell you something else. You calling up and saying that, and hearing JS say it, and hearing I already forgot his name. I'm sorry. The other guy say it makes me go. I mean, again, I still got to fucking finish the first one, but makes me go, okay, that's kind of cool. Maybe people are just kind of quote playing it wrong. And
It's
now
not
what
that they're
you're
playing it
saying,
wrong.
well, it's not that they're playing it wrong, but they're not taking advantage of one of the things that maybe makes those games great, which
Yeah.
is, hey man, maybe it's like God, right? God, it's like I planted all the seeds you need to have an awesome time. That's
Yeah.
on you if you don't want to go looking for them.
That's
And
literally
just
how
go,
I look at it. And I am guilty of being not ignorant, but I just forget to use stuff. Like William brought up a good point. Like, yeah, and people need to up their talismans and they need to level up their stuff and they need to eat like boiled crab and use exalted flesh and other items. Me and my daughter, we're terrible at using potions or items in games because we're just like, no, we need to save them in case we need them, because if we use them now, we won't have them later. And then we end up beating these damn games, and it's like, oh look, I had like max stack of exalted flesh that I crafted and never ate. Like, do you eat the things when you're playing? Do you ever buff yourself before you go in?
I do.
Or do you forget to?
Well, it's not that I forget to. It's my fear is I've been trained by Resident Evil, right? So I've got all these. I got these things that I forget what they're called, that you can like crack them before you go into a battle and your stats shoot up for like a long time, or at least for the battle and all that shit.
Yep.
But I'm saving all those till the final boss. So even that is like, I don't know when to use this, and am I going to come to the final boss and it's like, oh, you fucked up, you shouldn't have used it. Now you got to start all. I'm like, that is a real problem with a game like this, or any games. You play enough games and you don't know the language the game is using to communicate with you. You don't know what vernacular it has, and so you're kind of bringing your own experience to it. So, but yeah, maybe I could totally kill a bunch of bosses faster if I just crack those fucking things, but I never use them.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm always afraid that if I use them, that I won't have them to use them, which is completely defeating the point. It's like, no, they're there to use
unless
them.
the point is like Resident Evil. It's like, fucking, if you can get by without using your plants and your ammo and figure out another way, you best do that, because when you get to the final boss, you're going to want it.
Yep.
Anyway. All right, buddy. Thank you for the call.
Yep. Have a good one.
See you, man. Real quick, Souls. I love this. Wild Samurai says Souls games are nothing if the community isn't up in arms. He's a troll with a suit and tie. That's pretty good. I just wanted to bring this up about Darth Nugget and trolls. Darth Nugget thinks he's being ignored. Here's the difference between Darth Nugget and Eric. Darth Nugget rides that rail. Like, I would say 40% of the time he's trolling. 40% of the time he genuinely offers something compelling and interesting to talk about. And 20% of the time he's just a fucking idiot. And so he's like a little dim sum, a little potpourri of a human. So I don't know what I'm going to get. So I will read your comments. I read them all. I don't ignore them. But with Eric, it seems like every single one is just complaining. And I'm just like, it's not that I'm like an asshole. It's just that I'm like, I to do this show, I know it doesn't seem like it. I'm not like making it sound like this is a great show or anything, but it does take a lot of brain energy, whatever you want to call that. And so I don't, to look at something where I go, oh, it's easier for my brain to put into a pattern or a bucket. Oh, that's Eric. Ignore that one. Oh, Nugget. Okay, I should probably read the Darth Nugget one, because I don't know what he's on today. Maybe he took his meds and we can speak. I don't know. That's good. That was a good one, Eric. He says, the other day I gave you a metaphor for God of War axe throwing. You're lucky I just happened to look down and see it, because I usually would have ignored it probably. Stop being such a dick. And let's be clear, Eric, you're the guy who reached out to me at the very beginning of coming on my shows and going, I want to date your daughter. No, weirdo. So that you're already on my shit list. I don't think I forgot about it. I didn't forget about it. Let's move on, shall we? Dr. Disrespect. Let me take a 10-second meditation break. Hang on. Actually, somebody call in. I'll let you host the show for about 30 seconds while I meditate. The next person who calls in, just don't say anything offensive that gets my show fucked up. I mean, I'll just edit it out, but it's still kind of a pain that I have to do. So I want to take 30 seconds. I'm just going to sit here and meditate, but I'm going to let somebody else. No, there's nothing wrong with dating someone, but I don't know you. And you don't know my daughter, so fuck you. Somebody call in. Come on, you get 30 seconds of airtime. You could be the next big star. How did you get discovered? I was on this guy's little show, and I showed him that I was a genius. All right, well, fuck it then. If I don't see somebody on the show in the call in the next 10 seconds, I'm just going to take a 30-second meditation break. It'll just be dead air. That's fine. 2, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. 10 second, 15-second meditation break. So I get my head back on, and then we will talk about Dr. Disrespect. 1 second. It is kind of amazing that when you center like that, you really do step back, and it's a different conversation. Anyway, all right, Dr. Disrespect. Now, I mean, I'm more than happy to talk to you guys about the specifics, but I'm not that interested in the specifics. I'm more interested in as it relates to his video game company. But here, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, Dr. Disrespect, never really watched the guy. I don't get into YouTube drama. Apparently, you know, I do remember when he was banned from Twitch. People were like, what the fuck happened? Like, I remember it because we talked about it on the show. He was streaming, and then he kind of looked over to the right, and it's almost like he got a text or he got something, some notification or something. And he just almost very, very quickly was like, I'm out. He had to leave, right? And we're like, what? And then it was quickly announced that he was leaving Twitch, and there was going to be a lawsuit. And then he went to YouTube a year later, but he settled with them or had some kind of agreement, blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of where it's left, and I honestly hadn't thought about it. And then over the weekend, there was a former social media guy at Twitch that, even though he didn't name Dr. Disrespect, he made it clear, most people assumed it was Dr. Disrespect, that the reason he had been banned was that he was sexting underage, some underage girl, and was going to meet up with her, is what was alleged. And Disrespect is like, you can say that all day, but I've settled with Twitch. You know, he gave a sort of what was clearly like a lawyer line of, it was investigated and there was found to be no wrongdoing or whatever, which, you know, it's like, that's what you say. And again, the guy's probably got lawyers up his butt right now because it's like, this is what you agreed you could say. This is what you can't say, blah, 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 blah. And then somebody else who worked at Twitch kind of confirmed it, sort of. Like, no one's come right out and said it was the guy, I forget his real name, Dr. Disrespect, he did this. But it seems like there's smoke and fire there. Okay. And so, okay, maybe there is, maybe there's not. I don't think any of us are pro-pedophile. Even people like me that look at pedophiles and feel very bad, obviously only for the children, but also go, I really wish we could help people like that before they do something so awful. I don't think anybody, if what he did, the alleged to do is what he did, of course, good, go away, right? But I don't know if that's come out with any proof or whatever. But then today, I forget the guy's name, Ryan Bowling, I think. It's not Bowling, Ryan, somebody like that. Bowling might be, I worked with a guy in marketing called Ryan Bowling, but he's the guy who ran his own company for a while. He was community manager at Call of Duty, and then he started this new company where they're making a first-person shooter with Dr. Disrespect, and they put out a build or something recently. You know, it looks fine, but I mean, you know, it's hard to make a game, and it was early. But anyway, they basically said, after we've looked into it, we've decided to part ways with the guy. And so he's no longer part of that company. I don't know if he still owns his shares and he still has ownership, but he's not showing up day to day or whatever his duties were. He's officially been dismissed, fired, laid off, whatever they ended up going with. And it's what I'm fascinated by about this is, I mean, there are people out there that are saying, you know, Midnight Society, the name of the company, well, you guys, if he would have actually done this, there would be some kind of legal filing. If Twitch discovered he was actually doing this, then it wouldn't be about canceling his Twitch deal. It would be about putting him in jail. But yeah, there is truth there, but there's also truth that what Twitch did have was not something that necessarily necessitated a crime, but it was pretty fucking close, right? Like maybe it was, I'll meet you here or whatever, but then he never did it. I don't know what those lines are. I actually saw Chris Hansen put out a video like addressing this, but I didn't watch it. Chris Hansen, who did all the To Catch a Predator and all that stuff. So here's what's interesting to me about it, though, is that there are people online that are saying, well, I don't know that, Wayne B. Wayne B says Twitch has a legal obligation to go to the police, right? I don't know, because I don't know what they discovered. If they discovered that he was sexting somebody that, for all intents and purposes, everyone knew was underage, but there was nothing indicating that that knowledge was available to him in those tweets, maybe they're like, look, you were a hair's breadth away from breaking the law, but since you didn't, we just need you to go, because what you have done is you've allowed us to sort of trigger the clause in your contract that says if you do anything that makes our company look bad, this contract, we can either pay you out depending on how it was worded, or you're just gone. So it's hard to know because we haven't seen it, right? And you've got people online that are now saying, oh, see, this is cancel culture. He got fired from his job because there was zero proof. And I don't support firing people with zero proof, okay? But I also, it doesn't, just because we don't have the evidence that Midnight Society got, whatever it was, they may have said, here's the evidence. They may have gotten it from Twitch or whatever and said, look, guys, here's the deal. This is what you're going to discover if you dig, and you're not going to like being associated with this guy. Or what? I don't know. I'm making shit up because none of us know. At least none of us know, right? But what I will tell you, because I had something happen last night, and this is obviously why it's on my mind. I mean, if the guy's a pedophile, throw his ass in jail. And number one, protect kids. And then number two, after the kids are safe, figure out why this shit keeps happening. What is happening in the world where this is occurring? And is it really occurring as often as it is, or is it just the media highlights it and it seems like it's a bigger deal than it is? But you hear about it a lot. Okay, that's that. I have nothing else to say on the guy. I don't know him, never met him, never really watched him. I know people like him, but it is what it is. But here's what I got to bring up, though, because I had an experience last night as it relates to cancel culture. And I'm not torn on what to do. I've kind of already done it, but I wanted to walk you through for those that are interested. And this is video game related as it relates to this channel and people on this channel. But I'm not talking about, hey, here's the new, Modern Warfare 3 season expansion, which, by the way, looks really cool with the big heads and stuff. But so you guys know P. Turtle. I've always enjoyed my interactions with him. I've always looked at him as a, people say, oh, is he a character, Jaffe? Well, if he is, I always assumed there is some truth to his takes, and he has a right to his takes, and I would support his right to have them and express them, even though I don't agree with them. But I also, I think he obviously amps it up to 11 because, it's funny and people like him, and they, people either do like what he says, or they don't, but they just think he's kind of entertaining. Some people don't, but I like him enough for what he had brought to the show that I'm like, oh yeah, I like having him on. But then last night I blocked him on Twitter, and I won't have him back on the show, and this is why. And again, it's not canceling. Wayne says, are we canceling P Turtle? And I'm going to tell you what I found, and then you tell me. But I don't believe in the idea of canceling, right? I said the other day when P Turtle used the F word, a derogatory word for homosexuals, I said, look, man, no, I'm not going to ban you or anything, but please don't do that. Certainly never do it on my show. And he didn't. He did it on his own Twitter account. But he's like, yeah, you know, I didn't think it would bother you because it was over here or whatever. I said, yeah, you know, it's your life. I support your right to say that word. I support your right to say any word. But, and I would, you know, I think it's ridiculous that people are, you know, made to not feel comfortable expressing their views. But at the same time, there's a point where, you know, what is expected of me, right? So I go onto his Twitter account last night, I think because I was sending Gina, who follows him, a comment, because I was putting up a video with her today. And I saw that there was the P Turtle thing. Oh, she follows P Turtle. Let me, you know, click on it. I didn't follow him. And I go over there and it's not, if it is a character, his character seeps out of his call-in life and into his Twitter account. The one that really bothered me the most, and he was reposting, but look, if you're reposting, unless you're reposting with like a caveat of like, I think this is terrible, then you might as well be saying it, is how I look at it. And he was just reposting without comment. And there were a couple, but the one that really bothered me and made me sad was there was this Jewish guy working out in some gym. And all of the comments were things like, oh, he's trying to get strong enough so he can open the door of the oven, right? Or, oh, you know, it's really his gym. People just, you know, all this anti-Semitic shit, right? And it wasn't, and this wasn't from a year ago. This was from a couple of days ago after he and I had the conversation. And again, he's not an employee of mine. He doesn't owe me anything. I don't expect anything from him. If he believes these things, he has every right to believe them and do with them what he wants. But yeah, 6 million calories, right. But the problem is here's what really bothered me about it. And I would never, you know, I don't want to cancel anybody. And this is not being canceled, as you know, but even if I ran a company, where do you draw the line, right? Where do you, because this is a guy now who has talked to me, as he likes to say, he's been calling in for 6 years. I don't know if that's true, but he's been calling in a lot. And like I said, I usually enjoy talking to him. And it's one thing to believe that there is a Jewish cabal, or there is a what is that family, the Rothschilds or Rothschilds, or it's one thing to genuinely believe that stuff's going on. I don't think there's evidence of that. I think it's horseshit. But that said, though, you have a right to believe it, and I don't have a problem if you want to post about those beliefs. But when you are genuinely trafficking in cruel anti-Semitic shit, especially when this is a guy who has called me and talked to me for 6 years. He knows, even though I'm not Jewish, he knows that I was raised Jewish, that my family is Jewish, and that there's definitely a half of me that has Jewish blood, my dad's side. He knows I'm not that. He know, you know, but that he would post that suggesting that even though clearly I know people who are Jewish or Jewish adjacent, and they seem very nice to me and I have fun with them and blah, 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 that he is still going to continue to post that. I don't, it's one thing to be against a group of people because you're ignorant, but it's another thing to meet those people or some of those people and go, no, that's not how they really are, but still continue to beat the drum. And I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want my channel associated with that. Now, the question becomes, like, if you were running a business, I don't think if P. Turtle has all this crazy shit in his personal life or anybody, they should lose their job. But it is kind of a weird thing, right? People talk about cancel culture, but if you're the head of, I don't know, McDonald's, and it comes to light that your head of marketing has a website filled with this anti-Semitic stuff or anti-Muslim or anti-Christian or anti-black stuff, but they don't bring it into the office, there's a big part of me that says, well, you know, it's their personal life. They can have stupid fucking ideas. But now that I'm kind of sitting in the chair of going, yeah, Jaffe, but you, by continuing to platform him, even though your platform is very small, you are kind of being cruel to the people that he's offending. And it's offensive to me. And so, again, into the deep state, you're missing my point. It's not that I don't want to, he says Stern Oprah Springer had on all walks of life, and that's why people watched. It's not that I would not have a open racist on the show. It's not, I've said, you know, I'm all day long. I'm more than happy to have people on the show that disagree with me. But this isn't somebody who says, but Jaffe, I really think the Rothschilds control the world and I disagree. This is somebody that is mean and cruel and incredibly offensive when you look at some of the stuff that he is platforming on his own Twitter account. And by the nature of me helping him grow that account, something doesn't sit right with me. Right? I mean, it is, I'm not saying P. Turtle is mean, but by spotlighting a joke like that, it's mean. And why be mean? Right? Why, I mean, okay, I will let the chat decide, P. Turtle, if you can call in and explain, but I don't think there's anything you can really say. Hello, Darth Gundam. I mean, we've talked about it before. You've done absolutely nothing wrong. You have every right, P. Turtle, to post all of the stuff you want on your Twitter channel. There's no problem with that. Even though I find it incredibly offensive, you have that right. God forbid, I mean, one of the only reasons I would ever fight in a war is to protect the right for people to express their ideas, especially when they're horrible. But at the same time, I mean, you know, we've already had that conversation. I'm reading the chat. All right. In the interest of being a fair guy, P. Turtle, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Express your expression, whatever. Call in real quick. But this has got to be the last time unless you surprise the fuck out of us. Wayne B., that's fine. Wayne B. says I'm anti-Israel, so what's the problem? I mean, you have a right to be anti-Israel. And by the way, I'm anti-Netanyahu, and I'm anti a lot of the things Israel has done, but I'm also very pro-Israel in a lot of ways. I mean, but that's almost any country. I'm pro-Palestine. I'm anti-Hamas. All right, P. Turtle, go.
I can't believe this.
No. This is what's happening. So explain yourself. Don't get in. I don't have time for
Oh, okay. You saw one post that bothered you. What about the rest?
I scrolled and saw that there was a lot of posts similar, but that was the one that really
Okay, because the conversation that we had last time, I believe I posted that before we had that conversation.
No, it was not. It was not.
I'm pretty sure it was.
It was the 20th, and we had the conversation like on the we had the. I can go back and look at the date.
I'm telling you, we had the conversation. I believe it might have been the 20th, but it was before I came on that episode. The second thing is that when I spoke to you on that episode, right? Mm-hmm. I called in, and now you have me in with other people, so we couldn't work out the terms. But I said, okay, well, what can I do? I said, because the only
whatever
thing
the fuck you want, I would never tell you.
I understand that, but I'm talking about in terms of that would reflect poorly on the show. Now, you said you just didn't want me saying hate speech. I said, okay. Now, the second thing is, what is the goddamn second thing? I'm trying to be quick because you're giving me 2 minutes, goddamn it.
Well, because let me cut to the chase here. Do you really think all Jews are bad?
No, I live in a Jewish neighborhood.
I don't care where you live. Because ultimately what you're doing is I'm staggered that you would platform. I'm not saying there aren't people out there, and even like the group you bring up in the tunnels that were molesting kids and all this shit. I'm not suggesting.
I never said they were. I just said what's going on under those tunnels.
Okay, I'm not suggesting that is not something that may or may not have occurred. It sounds kind of crazy, like maybe it did. But I don't throw all Jews under the bus because of that any more than I throw all Catholics.
I don't throw all Jews under the bus.
But why would you post something that is so... that would be like...
to be honest...
You're a black guy. You're a black guy.
I'm not black, but go ahead.
Let's assume you're black or part black, because you've
said
before.
You know what? I am black. I am black. It'll help me here.
So,
I'm black.
Okay, fine. That would be like somebody posting something about... how funny it was when black people were whipped and raped by their white masters in the slavery days, and going and not thinking that was a problem. Like, why would you post that as something that you...
Well, I want to go back to my original point. I can answer that. But what I said was, when I spoke to you that day, and I was trying to find out the terms.
Okay, you're speaking to me now. So
okay, but this is what I said. This is the one thing I said. I said, I do repost a lot of wild things, I told you. I said, the reason why I didn't want my account open to the public is because people are going to think I co-op a lot of what I repost, but I actually do it for like research. And then somebody in the chat ended up saying, oh, you can just bookmark.
Why would you repost something for research? Why don't you just... bookmark it or save it.
I'm new to Twitter. I don't know how this stuff works. Once that person told me, and I'm sure
so
if you're on my... let me say this. I'm sure if you're on my Twitter...
when you quote a post where a woman says, showing a Jewish guy working out, and she says, these comments give me hope for humanity, 6 million calories. And then all of these are basically making fun of him because he's Jewish and talking about the Holocaust and all. What research are you after there?
Well, I want to make something clear. That was before we spoke on that episode. It might have been the same day, but it was before I came on the episode. But to be honest, I thought some of the jokes were funny. So I never got to read the whole thing because when I go on Twitter, I'm new to Twitter. Like, really, I am. So I didn't read all those comments. I don't know. You said there was an oven one. I didn't read that. But the 6 million calories, so I got to be honest. I cannot lie. Pete Turtle is not a good liar. Again, I like racist jokes, even if it's about black people, Spanish, whatever.
I have no problem, by the way, also mostly with racist jokes. But
can I say this real quick?
But
the funniest part of the picture,
when your Twitter is full of them, then it becomes
a different.
Full
of them. That's the only one.
Okay, and then underneath it, you've got a story you reposted about Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano has been summoned to the Vatican to be excommunicated. Gee, I wonder why. And then it says it's because he said the World WEF, which is what the World Economic Forum, has direct control or blackmail over world leaders. Everybody knows that the WEF is accused of being a Jewish cabal that runs the world. I mean, what's your deal with this?
How much of my post did you go through? Because you might have just gone one day and you saw a couple of Jewish posts. And again, let's be honest here. When it comes to the Jewish people, they're popular.
You posted this. Homosexual. You posted a preacher. Homosexuals can teach the church something. Then it says 6 seconds in, a lightning strike shuts down his computer. And then
that's interesting. That should be on I Love the Weird.
It would be on I Love the Weird if it wasn't part of a pattern of everything you post. Is this?
Yeah, I just reposted Julian Assange is free.
Okay. Anyway, that's my concern, P Turtle. Can you understand
Listen,
this for a moment?
I understand that's your
Can
concern.
you understand? Let me ask you a better question. Can you understand that you actually have charisma? You express yourself in a funny, entertaining way that people like, and you are basically utilizing that gift to basically be mean to people and hurt people. What is wrong with you?
What's wrong with me? Jaffe, you're talking to me like we haven't been friends for 6 years.
Yeah, but
You saw one post of a Jewish
just
guy
gave
lifting
you
weights.
3 of them. And then the other day you used an
Those
F
three.
slur.
Listen, I give you the one with the Jewish guy lifting weights, and you didn't let me get this out. The funniest part of that picture to me was the Jewish guy all dressed up, and he was lifting weights. He didn't have the attire of somebody lifting weights. That was the funniest part to me.
In isolation, yeah, it's like, just like when we talked the other day about the Catholics and the Jews and the difference between the Jews molesting kids and the Catholics, and I did a joke that was terribly tasteless, but it's clear it was a joke, and that is not what I think, and that's not what my history online and in my life is. You, on the other hand, it's a cavalcade of
It's not a cavalcade. You just
of
looked.
cruelty.
Oh my! You saw 3 posts. 2 have nothing. One was a gay guy in the church getting like he didn't even get struck by one.
So all you're saying is you're spreading out your bets on the roulette table. If I'm not, I'm not making fun of Jews. I'm not being mean to Jews. It's Jews and gays, and
No, I repost a whole bunch of things on there. It's not just that. But that's why when I called in that day, I said, and you can go back and watch it. I said, is reposting fine? Because I said I repost a lot because I like to look at conspiracy theories. That's what I do.
I'm going to let you go. Here's what I'm going to do, Pete Turtle. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to talk to the mods about it. I'm going to talk to the chat because I do.
Oh my God, they all hate me, but it's fine.
No, they don't.
If my time has come to an end, I'll say this.
Yeah,
I enjoyed my time.
And I've enjoyed having you. And if your time has come to an end and it's come to an end because of this, I would just say, you don't need to be such an asshole. People
Fair enough. Can I say this? These might be my last words. Can I say this?
Yep. Go ahead.
I appreciate you having me on. Not a lot of people would let me come on and be myself. So I respect it. For the people who hate me, I love you too. I enjoyed my time here. But thank you for allowing me to say my final words.
I will talk to the community, and I will get, because I really don't know what to do in this case. So
all right, fair enough.
All right, Pete Turtle.
All right, man.
There he goes. Daniel, my nephew, there he is. Oh, Daniel, I heard the news from Nikki. Oh, so sad. But yeah, it feels like a bad breakup. Sure. I'll go to the chat. Not tonight. I'm tired, but I will. I'll go to the community and the Twitter and the Discord, and we'll talk about it. I mean, again, I there's a real danger of giving people too many chances, but I'm also, I don't fucking know. I don't want to be a dick. And don't say I'm canceling anybody. What would you do? What the fuck would you do? Right? I mean, it's not, I don't want to cancel anybody. People have a right to have bad ideas, or at least ideas that I consider bad. But isn't there a point where you kind of go, when does that become just enabling and harming your own audience? I don't know. I don't know what the right thing is, real YT Shadow. Don't say do the right thing. I don't know what the right thing is, honestly. Right? Yeah, of course. Luke, no kidding. Luke says, Jaffe doesn't have the power to cancel. Yes, I know. And I wouldn't if I did intentionally. But what I'm saying is, do I have the power to say you're no longer part of coming on the show? Sure I do. But it's actually a hard thing to know what the right thing is. Because what he's saying is clearly offensive and wrong. But he has a right to say it. And I think it's actually a fascinating question when you think about it. Which is where, not just the show, of course, but just in our country where people complain about canceling and this and that. Where do we allow people to be their awful selves when we think what they do is awful? And say, yeah, but not everybody has to believe what you believe. And as long as you don't come to the office and do it at the office, you know, do whatever you want. I don't, you know, I mean, because there's a sense of that. But at the same time, it's weird, though, that if people find him through here, which they probably will, because as small as this show is, it's, you know, a lot bigger than his footprint. And he doesn't do it on the platform. But if they find him from the platform, and I have helped with that, then I struggle with that. So I don't know. I don't know. Right. Like Gundam says, if people are spewing harmful or hateful rhetoric and I'm offering them a platform, it's not, that's why it's a little harder for me, because I'm not letting them do it on the show. I would never let anybody do it on the show. But by the nature of helping him find people that agree or that like him, and he's a likable guy for a lot of people, and then they discover that, I am kind of complicit. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, well, that's different. Bukaki says, I don't have a problem with anything he says. I'm just tired of the bit. If he gets some new material, he can come back. Well, yeah, entertainment rules all. I don't totally disagree with that. Don't let this be the moment you begin to create your own echo chamber, Jaffe. Prison Junkie, I would never do that. Just because I may make a decision you don't agree with doesn't mean that I'm going into an echo chamber. It just means I'm making a decision that you don't agree with. People online says people need to be stop being so fucking sensitive. It's that simple. It's not about that though. That's such a cop out to the conversation. It's not about I'm so sensitive. Somebody made an anti-Jew joke or an anti-black joke or an anti-gay joke. It's not about that. It's about the cruelty and the ease with which we have become comfortable and accepting of everybody just being fucking assholes to each other. And I guarantee you, even if the biggest supervillain in the world, which I don't believe in things like the Rothschilds, I know they're rich as fuck, but a lot of people are rich as fuck. Even if the richest evil cabal in the world is led by 5 Jewish dudes, it's got nothing to do with Jews. Even if Netanyahu is demanding the IDF, the ones that will still listen to him, to do some awful things in retaliation to an equally awful thing that was done to them, that doesn't mean it's all Jews. It's just, you know, it's just, I get, it's not about not being sensitive. It's about going, what are we willing to put up with in terms of how we treat each other? Yeah, okay. Dr. Doom is the world's biggest supervillain. That's true. That's true. Online, that's absolutely different. Online says, I literally heard you ask the chat. I like how you thought you needed the literally there. Like, I heard you ask the chat, or I literally heard what is the metaphorical version of hearing me ask the chat? But anyway, I heard you ask the chat if they'd rape someone to save lives. Yes. I think it's a fascinating question, because the person I was talking to was basically saying rape fundamentally is always bad. And I said, I agree, but can you think of a scenario where it's actually the best thing that you can do? And so I made up a crazy scenario where if you were in the war and your commanding officer said, if you go into this house, I want you to rape that woman. And if you don't do it, then I'm going to kill her and all the family. Then is rape the right thing to do? That was not me saying, go do it, you moron. What's wrong with you? Luke said, this is why people need to just stop. Stop being so ready to fly off the handle. Maybe it's because we're so mean to each other. We're wired that way these days. He says, how in God's name would raping someone save lives? You wrote that before I explained it. Instead of just sitting back and going, this guy's earned enough intellectual credit in the bank with me that maybe I should listen to what he says first. Do you really think I'm walking around going, you know what would be good to do? Let's go rape a bunch of people. I mean, come on, man. I did see the new Nosferatu trailer. It looks great. It looks fantastic. Looks fantastic. All right. My dear, delightful humans, that has been Gavin and Games for, what is today? The 24th. What fun we had. Listen now. The new schedule. It's weird. I'm trying to, what I hope you guys can appreciate is I always am here at 5 to 5:30. That's big for me. But what I'm trying to get on is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Okay. I will definitely be back Wednesday at 5. Friday's a little touch and go because I'm going to be on Constellation on Last Stand Media. So I usually run out of energy, but maybe I'll stream something at 5. And then, of course, I'll be on Saturday at 5 with I Love the Weird. So, and then if you are a member, there will be bonus content, a new podcast going up just for members that will be going up on, I'll put it up here and on the Patreon tomorrow or Thursday. So consider membership, consider subscription, consider liking, telling your friends, sign up for the Patreon. It's free. You don't have to pay anything if you just want to be part of it and see the stuff that comes across the wire. If you like podcasts, that's where you probably should sign up, even if it's free. Most of these shows go there as podcasts, and it's a much better podcast experience than listening on YouTube because it's a long story. JS says, do you even have a schedule? I do. I just told my ideal schedule is, the contest. Yeah, we'll do the contest. Okay, hang on. You're right. My ideal schedule is, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and, Saturday, 5:00. And then member content only will go up Tuesday, Thursday, one of those days. And then Rob the Mod is helping me doing some editing, so there'll be more clips going up as well, because I know these shows run long and everybody has time to watch the whole fucking show. So, yeah, Twisted Sith, goodbye. This was fine. What a joke. Twisted Sith says, this was a huge bummer. Maybe this isn't the channel for me after all. Fuck censorship. Yes. If what you're basically saying is this channel can only be good for you if... Again, I will have anyone on. If you're the biggest racist anti-Semite in the world, come on. I want to hear why you're that way. I want to discuss it with you. But if you think this is just an open bar for anybody and everybody to come in out of that context and just spew or have their awful ideas platformed, then yes, you have made a grave error in where you've chosen to spend your time and money. And more importantly than you making a grave error and where you've chosen to spend your time and money, I would ask you why you're so comfortable with supporting activities that make people's lives bad. Doesn't mean we can't listen to these people. It doesn't mean we can't hear what they have to say. We should. Because either sometimes you're wrong, and you learn something, or either sometimes you're absolutely right, and you can expose ideas that are really dangerous and bad. I'm not talking about shutting down the dialogue. I'm just talking about there's a difference between being open to the dialogue, and being a doormat for bad behavior. So, Prison Junkie says, I thought you said you were the modern day Morton Downey Jr. I said Robert Downey Jr., sir. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, hey, look at that. JSD. Thank you, buddy. JSD has gifted 5 memberships here to this show. I appreciate that, buddy. Very generous. You've been generous with your ducats all day long, and I appreciate it. And listen to this, JSD. I got to tell you something. Sean Infinity sounds like a goddamn superhero. Sean Infinity says, hey, Jaffe. Yes, Sean. Anna be a member, and goddamn, and it was good, and God said that was okay. And Sean Infinity has also signed up and become one of our newest members to the Diet Soda Soldiers. Thank you for that, buddy. I appreciate it. Okay. And seriously, JSD, thank you as well. It's really, really generous, you guys. Anybody got one from him? Please make sure you give him a pickle tickle. Okay. You're right. I promised you a contest. We're going to do it. Okay. Give me a second. All right, coming up, we're going to take a 5-minute break because we've been going for about almost 3 hours. But it's a 5-minute break. It won't be long. But listen, here's what I want to show you what's coming up after the break because I think you'll dig it. Maybe you won't. Fuck you. Coming up after the break, I'm going to invite you all to play my latest creation. You can see it right here on the screen. It is called Escape the Grift Monster. Let me move this out of the way so you can see the whole thing. Hang on. Let me make this smaller. The goal is there will be trivia questions all about video games. Every time you answer one, you will move a space away from Grumzilla. The first person to make it to Taylor Swift's balloon will fly away to safety and win a $25 gift card. There will only be one winner. Everybody can enter, everybody can try. The first name I see with the right answer gets the win. And I will be looking at it on StreamYard, not YouTube or anywhere else. So that whether they're fast or slow or whatever, I'm using what I got. And so what it means though is that if there's like 10 people in 5th place and you haven't even played, you can still start and beat them all if you're really smart. And these are going to be video game trivia questions. Because he's a grifter. And again, I've said about Grums, I've said to him, he's been on the show before. I've said, hey, come on again. Let's talk about this shit because I think he's wrong and I think he's probably grifting. But, doesn't mean I don't, I had a great conversation with him before, but like I've said to many people, we don't have to agree on things to be pals, but I do think I think Grums is absolutely, full of shit when it comes to this. I think he knows what he's doing and he's making money off of it. And that's fine if that's what he wants to do. Hey, Sancho knows best. Good to see you, buddy. How are you? It's been a while. Okay, so we're taking 5 minutes. I'll be right back. I got to get a drink. I got to refresh the Diet Coke. And then on that flip side, let me put up some music here so you guys, like enjoying the tunes. In 5 minutes, we'll get into it, and we'll see who walks away with a $25 gift card. I'll be right back. Okay. We are back. Welcome to yeah, thank you, Brad. We welcome to Escape the Grift, my brand new game design. It's brilliant. Now, here's how you play. You see Taylor Swift over there in her little hot air balloon? She's waiting for you. She loves you. She wants to take you on a little balloon ride and take you out of this town because Grums the Grifter is heading towards you. Okay? And only one person will survive. Right? So who's it going to be? Here's how we decide who gets the one ticket with Taylor in the hot air balloon. Video game trivia. Whoever sold you the music won the grift. It was just on the StreamYard, man. Okay. Here we go. Now, it's the first one to type it. What I'm going to do, just so you guys don't get all pissy with me, how can I show you this? I'm going to bring this up. It's going to look a little weird when we play this. It's okay. But this is going to only move this, so you know, not that you think I'm cheating, but you know. Okay, so this is what I can see right now, is your chat, right? No, move over here, you idiot. This goes here. Save. Update layout. Okay. So this is how I'm going to determine who the winner is of each trivia question, okay? And then they'll get on the board. Here's question number 1. First person to answer it wins a prize. Maybe I can make this even bigger so it's less. I know it's a little dizzying. I apologize, but you know. Yeah, it's not OBS, unfortunately. You don't have the. Anyway, you know what? I'm going to take it off. I'm just going to say, you know what? Fuck it. Trust me, and if you don't believe me, I'll show it to you. I'll drag it on then because it is kind of an eyesore. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, here is the first question. In Final Fantasy VII, what is the name of Cloud Strife's massive sword? And it's got to be the exact name. It can't be like shorthand. It can't be, yep, CW got it. It's Dizzy Death almost got it, Buster. But Film Gamer, who got it? CW got it first. The Buster Sword is the official name. And I've got to be, here it is right here. First time I saw it, CW, right? And I've got to be able to be that stringent because otherwise it's going to be too hard to, okay, so here we're going to put CW on the board. You have made it, good sir. This is very high tech. You've made it to space number 1. Okay. All right, you go live here. All right, next up, next question. Here we go. The next question is, in Metal Gear Solid, what is the name of the stealth technology used by Solid Snake? I'm awaiting. Up there we go. We got it. Miscellaneous. Let me make sure. I think Miscellaneous Gaming Vids was the first. Let's make sure. Yep. Octo Camo is the name of it. Octo Camo. Okay. So who is that? I'm just going to say MS. Hang on. I'll just make a new one for you. Hang on. Duplicate layer. And we will say MS Gaming. God damn it. Okay. We got 2 people on space number 1. Who is going to get to Taylor's balloon first? Shut up. All right, here we go. Next one. In Resident Evil 2, much of the game takes place in this police department. What is the name of the police department? CW got it. First one. Well, yeah, no. Well, that's tough. Yeah, I'm going to go with Raccoon City PD. I know you put RPD, but you didn't say Raccoon City. You got to balance quick with accurate. And because we've got so many, these questions aren't that hard. So given that CW wrote Raccoon City PD and other people, and that was the first one to write the whole thing out, it goes to CW. He jumps ahead on the board, space number 2. He is he can smell Taylor Swift's talent from where he is. All right, here we go. I know it might be the. What do you mean, Prison Junkie? You said it first. Let me show you what I got from you. You said, you might be kidding. Yeah, no, you're. This is where you showed up in my timeline. Down here. This is where CW showed up here. That's what I'm saying. I can only go off this. I have nothing else to work with. Okay. In Shadow of the Colossus, how many colossi must the protagonist defeat? Must he defeat? Not how many are there. Taylor Swift is very talented, you moron. What are you talking about? Here we go. We got a winner at... here we go. This is a lot of people got this one. I think it was Kyle Steffi is the first one to write 16. That is the answer. All right, 16. Kyle. Let's just do Kyle. Okay. New. And again, I'm more than open if you guys are like, no, that answer's wrong. We can have those conversations, but that one I'm not entirely sure about. I'm just trusting the internet. Because what I don't know is, were there 16 bosses, but you didn't have to defeat all 16? That's what I don't know. But I think you had to defeat all of them to win the game, right? Okay, let's put Kyle, Steffi. No, why does it keep doing that? Here. Sorry, like I said, this is not some high-tech thing. Kyle, Steph. All right. Moving on, my tiny friends. All right. Google says you must defeat 16. All right, well, there we go. So I have 2 sources. All right, here we go. I need first name and last name. Let's be clear, my little friends. Which character in the Tekken series is known for their lightning-fast kicks and electric moves? First and last name, and if spelling won't matter. I'm not going to force you to spell it right. Oh, my God. You all right, buddy? Crazy dog. Okay, somebody got it. I think it was Masochista. Let me make sure. May not have been. The answer is, yeah, Masochista got it. Jim Kazama is who it is. Okay. So, duplicate. All right. All right, so we got 3 people right now hanging out on the first square. MS Gaming, Kyle Steph, Masochista. CW's in the lead. Needs 3 more answers or 4 more answers to get up into Taylor Swift's business. All right, moving on. Moving on. In Kingdom Hearts, who is the main protagonist that wields the Keyblade? I told you these are mostly easy. Not all of them. Gun gets it. Sora, S-O-R-A. That's right. All right. Duplicate. All right. We've got a lot of people hanging out. And we know it's gonna bunch up there. But as soon as somebody leaps into the lead baby, it's gonna be. I don't know what I'm saying. Shut up. Okay. Okay, one sec. All right, here we go. In Silent Hill 3, what is the name of the amusement park where the game starts and ends? I need the full name. I'll go back and see if Light Iverson got it, but let me do this one first. Where does the Silent Hill 3? Yep, Brad Glasgow got it. Lakeside Amusement Park. Okay, 1 second. Duplicate. Nope, Lakeside. No, just that's fine. Okay. I'm going to go back and see. You guys are saying this Light Iverson got it before on Sora? No, not according to this. He didn't. There's Gun, and there's Light. So, okay, moving on. In Resident Evil 4, what is the name of the virus that turns villagers into Los Ganados? Yep. Hang on. I think it was CW again, but I could be wrong. Let's make sure. T-Virus. Yep. CW got it. Las Plagas. All right. CW moves up to space 3. Who's talking to me? CR3D. What's his? CR says, "Do you know I'm shadow banned on your stream?" I don't know. No, I didn't know that. Let me do this first, and I'll just look at it before I wrap up. But no, as far as I know, you weren't. You're not. Okay, CW takes the lead. He's putting some distance. I'm trying to make it dramatic. I'm too tired. Yeah, he's in number 3. Fuck you. How about that? How about that, bitch? All right. Okay. Let's move on. In Jack and Daxter, the precursor legacy, what is the name of the island where the game begins? Platformer Island, no. Epstein Island, no. That's a hard one, I guess. Google foo. That's fine. However you get your answers, good for me. I don't care. You can Google it if you want. At this point, I'd be disappointed if you haven't. In Jack and Daxter, Precursor Legacy, the first game, the name of the island where the game begins. It's not Misty. Is nobody going to get this one? Just go Google it. God damn. Google says Misty Island? I'm getting Geyser Rock, so let's do a new one. Let's assume that one just ignore that one then, because what I get is Geyser Rock. But let's clear out the. Let's move forward. Let's move forward, shall we? In Devil May Cry 3, what is the name of Dante's twin brother? Dizzy Death gets it. Yep. Virgil. All right. Hang on. No, not Virgil. What's his name? Dizzy Death. Okay. here we go. Moving on. One sec. Let's do. Okay, now we're going to switch it up and ask questions about PS4 and PS5 games, okay? Okay. In Bloodborne, what is the name of the final boss that appears if you consume the 3 third umbilical cords? Yep, it is. P. Dudley gets it. It's Moon Presence, not Moon Spirit. P. Dudley. All right, we got a lot of people on the starting, which I guess is bad design. It's like, you knew that would happen, Jaffe. I know. Shut up. Is this one? At this point, I don't even remember which one I just copy and pasted. Oh, this one. Okay. P. Dudley. All right, moving on. Here we go. In God of War 2018, what is the name of Kratos' kid? Gun gets it. It is Atreus. Boy's kind of funny, but no, it's not boy. All right, Gun moves to 2, closing in on CW. Here we go. Okay. In The Last of Us Part 2, what is the name of the group led by Abby Anderson? And I need either the initials or the whole name, but I need to know all the words in it by the initials or the name. Miscellaneous Gaming Vids gets it. It is WLF, the Washington Liberation Front. All right, so now we get ourselves a little game, boys. We got 2 on 2, 1 on 3, 4 on 1. Here we go. Okay, the woke. Yeah. Okay. In Death Stranding, like you actually played it, what is the name of the organization that Sam Porter Bridges works for? Dizzy Death gets it. Bridges. Look at this. We got ourselves a little game. Let me make sure. Dizzy Death is the first one. I think so. Maybe not. Maybe not. Wait, no, it was not Dizzy Death. Sorry, I was wrong. It was the Real Boss Man, actually. Got it. Dizzy Death goes back to 1 and gets duplicate layer. All right, Real Boss Man gets it. Okay. Here we go. In Demon Souls for the PS5, what is the name of the hub area where the player can interact with NPCs and upgrade their character? Demon Souls PS5, where can they upgrade their character and interact with PCs? It's the hub area. Uncle Fuzznuts gets it. It is the Nexus. All right. Okay. All right. No, not Nexus. Fuzznuts. Okay. Waffle. Yeah, Waffle House. That's right. Okay. In Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, what is the name of the female Lombax from another dimension? Johnny Graphics gets on the board. Hang on. Move Masochista over here. You guys all want to get into Taylor Swift's balloon, huh? You hear what I told him, Ace? It was an entendre, double entendre. All right, here we go. Let's change the topic. Let's get to movies. We'll do sci-fi and fantasy movies of the last 10 years. All right, here we go. Here we go. Are we ready? In Avengers Endgame, which character wields Thor's hammer besides Thor? Gun gets it. It was Captain America. You goddamn right. Gun is now closing in on CW's turf. If I was CW, I'd be worried. There we go. Okay, moving on. In the Witcher series, what is the name of Geralt's horse? You think Brad got it first? I'll go back and check. Okay, so this guy got it. A new guy's on the board. It's well, no, wait, hang on. Let me make sure. Scuzz Benson got it first. Roach. Okay, let me bring in Scuzz Benson. He's his first place now. Okay, so you guys said Brad got Captain America first. Let me check. Nope. I got actually, according to this, Uncle Fuzznut's got Captain America first. See that? Fuzznut's got it. So Brad's down there. So we'll give it to Fuzznuts. So Fuzznuts actually moves from 1 to 2, and Gun drops back to 2. All right. In a moment, what we may end up having to do is lock it to the next 2 winners, just because it'll take forever. But let's see. In Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, who is revealed to be Star-Lord's father? I'll give it to Fuzznuts. It's officially Ego the Living Planet. Oh wait, yep, Fuzznuts got it. Ego the Living Planet. Okay. Fuzznuts now joins CW in spot number 3. Yeah, Jeff Bridges. Okay, here we go. Let's change topics now. What do we want to do? Let's do 10 questions about 16-bit gaming. All right. Here we go. In Street Fighter 2, what country is Ryu from? All right, this guy got it. Let's make sure. I want to say, hang on. It was. And the answer is Japan. Okay, I think Fuzznuts. You know, that's weird, though, because I think it's really hard to know. Okay, I'm going to give this a tiebreaker. Fuzznuts and this Bato Yukamanawa. Anybody can answer, but whichever one of those answers this next one first gets that answer, because that's got to be fair. In The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, again, this is going to be the Kakinawa guy, or there's been some or Fuzznuts. What is the name of the parallel world that Link travels to? Yep, Dark World. I'm going to give it to Fuzznuts then. Holy shit, Fuzznuts has jumped ahead of CW. He's only one, maybe two away. Epstein Island, that's right. That's right. Okay, here we go. Yeah, well, one person's on Twitch and one's on YouTube, and that can't be helping. But again, I mean, this is just, I'm doing the best I can. Okay. In Super Mario World, what is the name of the companion dino that Mario rides? Come on, this one's forbidden. Yeah, Gungan gets it. It's Yoshi. Yoshi, where's Gun Gun? Oh, look at that. Gun Gun's CW. It's like he's passed away. The fuck's going on, CW? All right, we're going to change topics again. 10 based on... I'm just going to say 10 based on... I'm going to call it, say, Geek News. I don't know what's going to come up. Okay. Okay, here we go. In The Mandalorian Season 3, what is the name of the planet that Din Djarin, whatever, is trying to reach to bathe in the living waters? I mean, this is hard if you don't watch the show. Yeah, Kyle Steffi gets it. You were close, Batto, but it's not Mandor, it's Mandalore. So that goes out to Kyle Steffi. Goes to 2. Somebody throw out a topic. Give me a topic to look for, and I'll ask questions based on that topic. Horror movies, that's good. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. Name one of the real-life paranormal investigators in the Conjuring series. One or two, but probably should just go with one. It's faster. I think it goes to, somebody got it. Jeeves S. Elaine Warren, yep. Is Jeeves already on the board? I don't think so. Okay. Okay, next question. Here we go. In the MCU's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which character is introduced as a powerful young hero with the ability to travel between dimensions? Gun gets it. It is American Chavez. I will check the name of the... I will check Lorraine Warren in just a second. But that is American Chavez, and that is Gun, and Gun goes up to compete with Fuzznuts for number 4. Let me go back to Lorraine Warren. Okay, so her name is Lorraine Warren. And who did I say got it? Let me see. Who did I say got it? Did I say Fuzznuts got it? Who did I say got it? Because who actually... Oh, Jeeves says Elaine Warren, and I think that's right. Yeah, hang on. Oh, Lorraine Warren. That's right. Okay, so Jeeves doesn't get on the board, nor does Fuzznuts, because he only put the first. It's miscellaneous gaming vid moves up. Okay, so I'm gonna. Sorry, who was the guy that we added, but we now have to say goodbye to? Who did I say got it? Let me see. We said it was Jeeves. Jeeves has to go away. Sorry, Jeeves. Okay. Lou Vega. Okay. In the Babadook, what is the full name of the pop-up book that introduces that monster? Nobody's gotten it yet. I mean, unless this answer's wrong. Yeah, miscellaneous gaming vids gets it. It's Mr. Babadook. Where is he? Oh shit! All right, all he needs is one more question, and he gets the grand question to see if he goes away with Taylor and wins the $25 PlayStation card. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back to video game. Maybe. Here we go. In the recent movie Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Amongst Thieves or Among Thieves, which actor plays the role of the bard Edgin? Yeah, Botuki Kooky got it. I'm going to give that to him, even though you got it, and then Benjamin Ubben. Yeah, it's weird. The first one I saw was this Batuki guy because he typed it first, and then this pushed it down. I'm just going to call you. I'm going to call you Batu. But you got it. I know this isn't your name, but it's just what I can do. Okay. Batuki. What? But yes, it was Chris Pine. Okay. All right. In Donkey Kong Country, what is the name of Donkey Kong's sidekick? Gun got it because he typed the whole name, which was Diddy Kong. People type Diddy, but his name is actually Diddy Kong of the Cincinnati Kongs. Oh shit! Now it's a race at the moment. Somebody's got to come on now. Gunner MS, one more question, and they get to answer the final question to win. Blackjack says these are questions only nerds would know. Who do you think this is? Yeah, but his name is Diddy Kong. Come on. I mean, you can say you're getting him first. All I can tell you is I'm looking. I mean, maybe in the future, if people like this and we do it, we'll only do it on YouTube or call-ins or something because latency is going to affect what comes up first. And then I'm doing it through StreamYard. So maybe you are typing it first on YouTube, but StreamYard prioritizes. I have no idea. This needs to be taken as slapdash as it seems because I don't fucking know. Okay, here we go. This may be the last question until we at least know who's going to go for it. In Mega Man X10, what is the name of the leader of the Maverick Hunters? Uncle Fuzznuts gets it. That is Sigma. Sigma. All right, where are you, Fuzznuts? You're somewhere on the board, aren't you? Oh, shit. Fuzznuts ain't playing. You guys really want the Taylor Swift magic. I understand. I do too, but, you know, good job. All right, Sigma's got it. Now, any day, this could be the one. This could be the one. In Super Metroid, what is the name of the final boss that Samus must defeat? Fuzznuts gets it again. Mother Brain. All right. Now, this could be it. Fuzznuts, you have a choice. There's one question. And I need, would you be able to call in even if you don't put yourself on the screen? Because I'm going to give you, okay, call in and I'm going to ask you a question. CW, I'm checking. No, on mine, while we're waiting for him to call in, this is where Uncle Fuzznuts is here, and CW's right here. But again, I mean, I don't really know. I have no way of, you know. Oh, the code to call in, you do it right here. Okay. Goddamn right, Mutant Mo. Now here is, while he's calling in, all right, here we go. Fuzznuts, are you there?
Yeah, hold on.
All right.
I gotta mute you. Oh. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, you have a choice to make, my friend.
Okay.
All right. You can answer the question. I'm going to read you the question. If you get it right, you get the $25 gift card.
Okay.
If you get it wrong, you're out of the game. You fall out of the basket, and Taylor Swift abandons you, and then it looks like Gun Gun or MS Gaming could get it, right?
Let's do it.
But here's the wrinkle. You have to decide now, if you get it right, do you want to double or nothing and try to get $50 gift card?
Oh, wow.
Which means you'd have two questions. So you have to get it right, first of all, for the choice to matter, but you have to make the choice now.
Okay, do I know what the categories are beforehand?
I will give you both of the categories. Yes, it's a good point.
Okay, give me both the categories and then let me decide.
Okay, so the first question will be a question about 16-bit video games, SNES or Genesis. And the second question will be a sci-fi fantasy movie from the last 10-year or 15-year question.
All right, let's just do the 25.
Okay, so if you get it right, you get $25. You fly away with Taylor. If you get it wrong, you're out of the game.
Let's go.
All right, first question, or the question is, in Earthbound for Super Nintendo or the Japanese Nintendo, what is the name of the protagonist who uses psychic powers to combat
Ness,
enemies?
baby. It's my favorite game ever.
Who is it?
Ness.
Wait a minute.
Wait, sorry, I guess I didn't let you finish the question. The protagonist that uses psychic powers in Earthbound is Ness, right? Or was there more to the question?
One moment. Hang on. I have news for you, my little friend.
Mm-hmm.
And here is the news. The news is all of these people have gotten eaten by grums. Wokeness is bad. Wokeness is bad. Everything's ruining everything. But you, my friend, have escaped the grift.
Yeah,
with
me and
Taylor Swift. You are venturing into the great unknown, and you, my friend, are the winner of Escape the Grift Monster.
That's my girl.
Where's
Fuck
that
yeah,
sound?
love you, Jaffe.
Good game, everybody. Thank you for that. Okay, listen, you're over on the Discord, correct, I think?
Yeah.
Hit me up. I got the code for you right here. As soon as I wrap up the show, I will DM it to you.
Love you, baby.
All right. Thanks for playing, buddy. And all of you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me this afternoon, early into the evening on Gabbing and Games. as I said, I will. Yeah, Mascus says AAA animation, can't get it anywhere else. You goddamn right. I'll be back on Wednesday, 5 o'clock for Gabbin' and Games. Friday's a little suspect because I'm on Constellation. I'll let you know. Maybe I'll be live streaming or watching the debates on Thursday over in the Discord. I don't know. And then, of course, I'll be back this weekend at 5 o'clock for I Love the Weird. In the meantime, consider subscription, membership, Patreon, YouTube, all the. Just let the people know that the show is out there waiting to embrace them in their no-no squares. Be well, be safe, and seriously. And by the way, Film Gamer X, thank you, buddy. He's been with us for 12 months. He says that was a lot of fun. I agree. I'm glad you liked it. I'm gonna noodle with it. I'm gonna mess with it. You know. Anyway, be safe, be well, and I'll see you guys soon.